we can just like talk about how you view your style as a caster to begin with, because I'm not gonna I'm not gonna force a style on you at all. I think you should just keep your style like that. I think most people that watch you like that. So like how you view casting as a whole, and then I will just match that.
Yeah, I think for me the interesting thing and one of the main reasons why I'm excited to do this is that I am never going to be able to match the level of knowledge that like truly good players will have, right?
Yeah.
And I'm very aware of that, and that's something that you're always going to have to work around by like talking to better players or to watch streams of better players.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's important that I grasp most of the basic concepts of what is happening, and it's always going to be a lot more basic because as a caster you just can't really avoid, because you have so much less time and there's so much that needs to be doing.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I think it's also fun to talk to you about like what are the things that a caster thinks about, but I also want to get better and making sure that I always understand what's going on in
Yeah,
front of my screen, right?
exactly. Like
Even though I
no.
won't be able to match it, like I need to identify what certain map movements and whatnot mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I mean, just like I think I got it right then, because I said before you joined and before stream that like you are one of the casters that um have a good enough fundamental knowledge to cast at the highest level. But in my opinion, the better your fundamental knowledge is, the better your cast is also going to be, because a lot of people, they watch the stream because they also want to improve, not for the entertainment. What's this called? Like value of it. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think like the better you cast, the better the game quality is gonna be, and the better the like entire I don't know like cast is gonna be. So
yeah, I agree.
um, and also I think that you can reach a level where you have better understanding than a lot of like even challenger players to some extent, because the fundamental aspect of the game is not gonna change. I am pretty sure of that, because that requires a lot of like a lot of different changes to lane and all that. So that's never gonna change, and it's something that when you learn, you cannot unlearn it again. So like having your fundamentals down is just gonna make you so much better as a caster, as a player, as a league guy,
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly.
So I think that's just something you should focus on. And in terms of like items as well, that's not something that's going to change. But if you have like the general grasp of it, that will also make you so much better as a caster, in my opinion. Because a lot of casters, they just run with what's built, even though like 90% of the time it's wrong. Or there is something wrong in the game. There's never gonna be a game where everything is just perfect. So if you can like kill the downtime, where there's replays and stuff like that, with where you can just talk about some items that might be built wrong, that will also make you a lot better, in my opinion, because there is not really any casters, from what I've heard and seen, that like talk about items to the same level as someone like Ellis used to do. And I think that's something that's missing.
Yeah,
But again,
gotcha.
I'm not gonna force anything on you. I'm just giving my opinion of it,
No,
because
I mean that like I'm not surprised by that at all, right? Because you're a very, I think you're very representative of higher elo players that would watch the official broadcast,
yeah, yeah.
because it's a very it's not a different like a better or worse perspective, but it makes complete sense that you feel that way, I think.
But
But yeah, I let's maybe go into the draft, and
yeah,
then I don't know if the best is just to listen to the cast, and then we can kind of
yeah,
see.
we will just listen to the cast. That's gonna be
Yeah,
the best for sure. And then I will just stop when I feel like there's something that is missing or something that is good or whatever.
yeah,
And then obviously I just want to mention that I think it is obviously better that you try to hit like the lower average community than you try to hit the high community. But if you hit the high community, you will also hit the lower community, in my opinion. As long as you make it very understandable and if you're very well spoken, you will get all of it.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, that's just to give it, like, that's my key point as well, right? Like, I don't really care if I can do the analysis as well, but I need to know that it is happened, so I can choose
exactly.
to not talk about it.
Exactly. I completely agree. I need to change the screen so that you can see it.
Yeah.
Or hear it, I mean. There we go. Let me know if you can hear.
Point out, like, wherever they are, they're
Yeah.
watching.
All right, perfect.
Oh yes. As this is an incredible end to this first.
Also, like something that I've been thinking about, like when I'm watching casts, is it possible to like bring up like items or something? Let's say someone builds collector or something, and you could like bring it up on the screen and then talk about, you know, why LDR might be better, or is it something that will just like kill time and is not doable?
So in like the LEC probably and the LCS probably can. We cannot because we're the secondary broadcast.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we have very limited resources. Like our resources is basically just G-Sun, who is producing and also doing like a bunch of other stuff. So in our case, that probably doesn't really happen. And even if we could, I don't know
because
to what extent, especially like so to for this match specifically, right? From a purely entertainment point of view, which I don't think is the only one you should talk about, but
of course
I'm gonna kind of go more in favor of that to kind of balance it out. Talking about items when you have just hit the third match between two of the best teams in the league that have a long-standing rivalry will be very low on the priority list.
Yeah, I mean, makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. I was just thinking, you know, like in the game, if someone builds like Random's Omen, for example, and Frozen Heart is better, if you could like pull up
on the desk though. On the desk, we were able to.
Okay.
We have done that as well at times.
Have you like
I do
pulled?
agree with you.
Have you like pulled? Have you like pulled this up, for example, and then talked about?
No, you can't do that.
Okay.
That's not like that's too.
That's
unless
too much.
You do, yeah. Unless you really, you can take one of the things. Like you can take just the passive, but even that, because the over time, like the time to get all that going while the game is happening, with the resources that we have, is really hard.
All right. It's just, yeah. I mean, yeah, it makes a lot of sense, right? I have to get in the mindset of a caster to be able to understand it. Because, you know, often like items are overbought or bought at the wrong time, and then no one is talking about it. And
we love that items in the LCK.
Yeah, and like LCK is one of the worst at is at building. So, like, if you could be one of those like pioneers at like you know, showing people the critical thought process and the understanding of items, I think that would be really, really insane. And I think that would also give you some recognition that would be well deserved, because, you know, if you could pull this up and you understand the items, that will just make you so much better, in my opinion, and unique from other casters that just are like, I feel like a lot of casters are very similar, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
But let's get into the game.
We have the semi-base races, the Nexus staying alive.
Can you hear it like loud enough?
You can turn it up a little.
Okay, because I don't think I can. Then you have to go into the screen share
I'll turn the I'll turn it up there.
All right, perfect.
There we go. That's better.
4 seconds left on the Elder buff to kill the Fresh.
Yep.
Incredible. There's so many to this, and this is one of those games that is, I think, as enjoyable to watch.
Should we make it like 125, or should we?
I'd say 125. Yeah.
As long as we can hear it.
Yeah. Like if you go faster than that, it'll be unintelligible.
Yeah. Exactly.
It was all happening as there was so much going on. But the amount of depth and talent that was shown in these games, hopefully is going to get topped, because I'm going to be honest with you, Atlas, midway through that one, I was like, the first one was better. Like, this one is, it's okay, but it was like a quad rec or triple.
I mean, it felt a little bit like Damwon were running away with it, and so you saw the 3-game series.
So do you feel like you are a little bit lost in draft, or do you feel like you have, you know, a general understanding of it?
No, I think generally I have a good one. The reason why I'm going over these drafts is because there's
Different.
a lot of shenanigans happening, right?
Yeah.
So I think like because especially within the LCK, it's actually way easier to redraft, I think, than in a lot of other regions because our teams are very predictable, like for better or worse. They play a lot more around what you'd expect to be their win conditions, and this is something I've noticed as well compared to like any of the other regions. We talk a lot more about expectations of a draft, and then generally teams will do that.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, right? Like I am like LCK is the region I watch the most, and it's the region that made me improve the most because, generally speaking, the way they draft is also how they play the game. They play the game around how they have drafted, and often in like LCS, LCK, not LCK but LEC, they can make drafts that just and
then they start face planting.
They start doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like LCK fundamentals are a lot better than like they used to be. Not I think anymore, but they used to be a lot better fundamentally than any other region. So yeah, I agree with you. And yeah, that is true. Like their way of drafting is very, very predictable for sure.
It's feeling the same way, and then it all comes back around, and I can see even under that mask, score is smiling. He is ready to do this one more time as we see Damwon Kia back on the blue side. Momentum in favor of Gen G.
Like when you talk about bans and stuff, do you talk about like why they're banned, or do you just like let it go through? Like I haven't.
It really depends because the amount of time that you have is so you have very little time to talk about a lot.
Yeah.
So what you generally would do, or what I try to do, I don't know if I do that here, but like what you try to do is if like fucking Corki is banned or TF, like you're not going to talk about that. It's only if the bans are like kind of out of whack or like diverge from what you normally expect.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, obviously you have a limited amount of time, so yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, and again, in draft, you'd also be because there's going to be a lot of people that are tuning in this game, right?
Yeah.
Like you basically every single draft you start from the beginning again. So
yeah,
there's
true.
probably also some storyline stuff that you'd want to hit as well.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Actually stronger here in the LCK just in general, and that first pick is a big issue. Both of these teams. Is one going to be taken away?
Do you have like some signature way of like this is going to be the last question I think before we just let it run? Like do you have some signature way of approaching draft or just approaching like every game in general? Like for example, for me, if I'm coaching a jungler, like I always want him to have, you know, a certain game plan or a certain way of thinking about the game before he plays the game, and then of course it can be different depending on what happens and depending on lanes. But do you have like a certain way of approaching draft, or do you just kind of like go with the flow?
Mostly go with the flow. It's really dependent on the teams that are playing and the previous games. So if a previous game was won by a specific player on a specific champion, or like a play style that a team went for, or a team lost because they drafted a composition that requires brains, and you'll thread up Rion, then in that scenario you'd focus on that in the next draft. Once the first game of the draft, also depends how deep you're into patches and stuff. It's really dependent. I don't really have a set thing to go by.
Okay. Do you read patches and stuff like that always?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's very important.
Yeah, especially on like higher like I don't know. Yeah, just always do.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's like necessary, so that's good.
I mean, it's the job, yeah.
yeah, it is part of the job.
Please don't let Corki be in this game again. I would very much appreciate it. And at this point, at least for tonight, I've seen enough big ones hit like 3 people.
This is prior to the Corki nerf, right?
Yeah, it's 12-1.
Yeah. So.
And this is when a lot of teams were also just straight up ignoring it.
Yeah.
TF, surely as Gen G after the first game, you just 100% ban. The main thing that I think this swap is going to do for Damwon is Canyon and Show making a better position. The flip side of this, that I am 90% certain that Gen G is going to save their counter pick for top, unless it's picked earlier, and I would love them to go in hard on that, because I think I will go one here in draft, because there's some stuff that I might be missing. unless it's picked earlier, and I would love them to go in hard on that, because I think that is by far the biggest skill gap that we have within this game, and trying to leverage that is, I think, for Gen G,
So
not only
some
good, but a necessity.
So some context. Basically, it was pretty even overall, but like obviously, I don't know who's playing Hoya Alberta, but they got fucking slapped. So setting the expectation that Gen G should play around top side because the top side is a million times better.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. Obviously, don't want top side is arguably
it's
the
better
best.
now, but it's
Yeah,
still not great.
Yeah, for sure. But I agree with you. They should be playing top side. So, I mean, this is basically how they made their entire team, right? To play around top side and bot lane, not left alone, but definitely top focused team.
Yeah, they got to play to their strengths, absolutely.
So I think it's good. Like it's good that you mention it. I think even mentioning it every game is fine for new viewers.
Yeah, I mean there'll be a lot of repetition.
Yeah, for sure.
Karma still available. Yumi still available. Caitlyn still available. Talon no longer available.
Means that the Yumi pick not as threatening as it would otherwise be, as I said.
So, like Yumi first pick is very troll. I don't know how much like time you have, but when people like start locking Yumi first pick, there are, you know, Sona for example is just Yumi and Crack, free scaling, better champ.
I know.
You can go two different routes. You can dive it. You can be really oppressive. That's stuff like the Elise. You have maybe heard me talk about Elise versus Yumi. She's the best dive in the game, so you just slow stack on her and kill her. So you can't do Yumi first pick. Or you can do just better Enchanter, which could be stuff like Sona. And Sinch falls in the same ball game as the Elise, right? Because if she jumps out, you W and she's dead. Because you flip her and then she has 5-second cooldown and she dies. So that's something that you could have in the back of your mind the moment that they lock Yumi, because that should not be working. As long as you don't start locking like Leona or Naut or some shit like that, then you're fine.
I know, but I mean this is also in a league that just first picks Aphelios and pretends that Ziggs doesn't exist, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. It doesn't even have to be Aphelios as itself. But I don't know how you talk about this, because I think for you as a caster, if you are able to like identify why first picking Aphelios isn't correct and why it should be punished, I think mentioning it is good. Maybe not like mentioning it all the time, but it just shows that you have a deeper understanding than, I mean, they might even have themselves, because it shouldn't be working. If you go Aphelios and you lock like a heavy ranged comp and he has to go BT second, even then it's going to be hard for him to play the game, because you cannot first pick this champ and you can also not first pick this champ. And then we can talk about, you know, why certain picks are banned and whatnot, but it's
so this is an issue that you run to, especially with the LCK and the amount of games that are played. This is gonna have like these type of extremely open to abuse drafts happen so much that if you go like I agree with you first and foremost, but then it becomes more of a question of when do you actually want to talk about it? Because you have the opportunity to talk about it every single time, and I think what we do right now, and I don't know if that's the best call, but basically how it is right now is that we don't start to really do it until it becomes obviously stupid and it keeps getting punished. And maybe we can be more proactive in that, but it's hard because, as you know, LCK teams are very reluctant to actually adapt and punish in draft.
I mean, completely agree with you. I think like LCK might have the worst drafting of all regions.
I'd say so.
But I think the more you can like push on that for the viewers, I think the better, because if you just go with the flow and you say, okay, Yumi first pick, that's nice, and then you just keep going forward, then you're kind of like just a part of it. And I think if you can be a little bit reluctant and you can actually like say this shouldn't be working and this is why, I think the more common knowledge a person has, or the higher elo the person has, or whatever, the higher skill the person has, the more he will understand and agree with you. Because this is what I mean by a lot of casters are just they are just okay with going with the flow and just seeing what happens, and the more knowledge you have, as I said before, the better it is going to be for you. So if you have like 10 seconds here, that's all you really need. Just say, okay, so Yumi's first pick. Now we can see something like hopefully Sona or Elise or Singed, just some wacky picks, and then say why they can be picked. Obviously, I'm not sure if you're going to do it here, but I'm assuming you won't, because it requires a certain amount of understanding to do this, and I think you are able to do it. I'm not sure what you will do, right? So we just watch.
Say that, someone no. We are still first picking that, and that's interesting because we know the Caitlyn is open, we know the Karma is there. These two picks have kind of terrorized the LCK.
And that can also work. Caitlyn, Morgana, Caitlyn, Karma, shove, and just take plays on repeat.
I'm sure one of I don't know which views are still here, but like especially in challenges, we see people pick like Kench, even in the LCK. Pick Kench. I saw that quickly on your stream. Yeah, dude, I was fucking fuming.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be working.
I mean, it didn't.
yeah, that's good. That's good. Right, it's good. Is Chronicler colorcaster or play-by-play? He's colorcaster. But yeah, it shouldn't be working because, like, also a lot of people have been so reluctant to Caitlyn and Lux and stuff like that. And I don't know if you saw my tweet, but like blind picking the champ isn't good because there's so many neutralizing lanes that will just nullify it. So if you pick like Caitlyn here, for example, and then you go like Karma Ezreal. Yeah, that works as well. Karma Ezreal or Six, and I don't know, like Karma can also work. Or Bard even, like you just have the 6 on last chapter and he just sits bot lane, destroys the wave, and you have nothing to play on. But there's so many neutralizing lanes, so you can't do Caitlyn. But if someone locks Ezreal or like Yumi here, and you then go Caitlyn, then you basically are golden, right? Because you can just take plates, you can move around the map, play mid, into top or bot.
Like Kate Karma, you just demolish.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think this is something that, like, it's so good that you talk about it here, because that is true. And of course you have a limited amount of time, but before they lock in, you have basically this timer, right, where you can just talk about why Yumi first pick isn't good, and then boom, 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 boom. And if Yumi is mega overpowered, then maybe it's good, but it's not overpowered at all if you know how to draft against it. But yeah, let's just move on.
Thus far, but there's also the Lee, right? So many options available here for Gen G. It's more about
there's also the Lee.
the highest on the list. Personally, I would love a Kate Karma lane.
Is it going to be like some interesting stuff though? As Lahens could go towards something like a
Gogi.
Sona, like we saw towards
Atlas hitting the Sona, very nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Barrel hit. Some interesting stuff though. As Lahens could go towards something like a Sona, like we saw Barrel head towards.
Yeah, really nice.
I believe in one of those games. Because Lahens is he's a good guy.
Like, when would you have time to explain why it's good? Because you can of course say like Sona is good or Karma.
You'd have like 1 or 2 sentences.
Okay.
Generally. So you could say because it matches the scaling of the, or arguably outskills the Yumi.
Yeah.
And you don't have the opportunity to get bullied in lane, and then you outscale and death ball fights later.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
But like that'd be the most. Honestly, in draft, it'll be a lot. The best time to talk about stuff, if you really want to go in depth about something, will be like the first 3 minutes of the game. Although you also have to get your like setup and your storylines in there as well. So you're always swamped, but you could get like 1 or 2 more sentences in here for sure to give because I think that's a good point, to get a little bit more depth. Explain why, not just mention it.
What about like after the game as well? Do you have time to talk about draft then, or do you just like go insta break?
No. You go insta break and then it goes to Anders' desk. So then they talk about draft there.
Are you one of the people that also talk about it there, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We can also take an Anders' desk.
Yeah, we do that. We do that for sure.
Later on.
Yeah,
that'd be good, because I think there we have a lot more freedom with like the segments that we choose.
That's super good.
So you can do very different and much more in-depth stuff.
Yeah, that's really good, because that's where you should be really like slandering the Yumi pick and saying that this cannot work and this is why, or like why pick Corki when you could just go like Caitlyn Lux or Caitlyn Karma and then you have the Karma flex. Worst case scenario, but there is nothing that can, like, Karma can just go straight into Yumi. You know that Yumi is going. support most likely, right? The chance of it going top is very unlikely.
Not happening.
So you can just have the Karma for flex, you go Caitlyn, and why wouldn't you do that instead of locking random Corgi pick when you can, unless Corgi is really broken, then you can pick him on 2 and you can just go like Karma because Caitlyn isn't going to be contested when they have Yuumi. All this kind of stuff. And I think, again, the more knowledge you get and the more comfortable you get with draft, the easier it will be, and it will just be so fluent. Because for me, obviously, I don't have to think; it's just fluent, and this is just how it is for me in my brain. And this can also be how it will be for you, because it doesn't require you to be challenge your player or like challenge your coach or whatever. As long as you have like fundamental understanding, it's easy.
He likes to mix things up. Likes to go for the crazy plays. As that's a Samira.
Please no. Please no, Samira.
Oh yeah, they lock it in.
No.
The cat, you get the, I guess, pirate in Samira, gonna try and punish as much as possible. And
oh yeah, I forgot to listen.
The cat, you get
I mean, it's a really bad joke.
In Samira, gonna try and punish as much as possible. And I kind of like your way of thinking, you know, Sona, Seraphine, but the Samira.
But I think, like, from what I can hear, it doesn't sound like you are like 100% confident in what you're saying.
I'm not convinced at all. No.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is something that will come with time and with more knowledge. And I think we will repeat this, maybe do it future, because it would be really nice to have someone like you that would just be so confident in what you're saying. So I think we will repeat it a couple of more times, and I can definitely hear that the way that you say it, it isn't like you are 100% confident in the Sona pick or whatever, because it is a little bit wacky.
No. I would feel comfortable about talking about Sona and Seraphine. I do like I mean the Samira.
Oh yeah. Okay.
The part of me saying like Samira is supposed to punish, whereas that is if the enemy picks like fucking Ezreal, like good luck.
Yeah.
Which they do.
Yeah, I mean, then you can do something like North and, I don't know, like Lee Sin jungle and try to dive it, but if you fail, then they will just win the game. So you're in a very sad spot.
Outside that really works, kind of overloading the healing that Yuumi could do, just a raw amount of damage.
Because imagine they go Yuumi, Ezreal, and then you have Caitlyn Karma, or Caitlyn's, I mean, you could even go Caitlyn Sona. You could even go Caitlyn Sona.
Yeah, they bleed blades, and then you get a free lead, and you can leverage that into Drakes and shove.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Caitlyn Sona isn't the best combo, but if they can't get punished, then it doesn't matter, because Caitlyn will take plates and Sona will do the scaling. So, combo is very bad, but it doesn't matter if they were playing versus Yuumi Ezreal.
Like collectively, we would overload
because this also can't work against a good drafting team. This just can't work. But it can work versus this, because if they fail, and like they just have to fail once, then Ezreal Yuumi wins the game.
On the Gragas can also go over to Canyon if they would like to, or Showmaker could play it. Triple flex theoretically here for the Gragas. Quadra if there wasn't Yuumi.
I mean, Gragas is fine pick, not much to say.
Yeah, it's just it works.
Yeah, it can go jungle, and he can facilitate the Ezreal Yuumi, make sure they don't fall behind. It can go top, so it's a good pick. Okay.
Lock that one away. So a lot of usefulness there, and of course Poppy, one of the best answers to Yuumi that there is.
I'm actually not 100% sure about like Poppy W on Ezreal E.
It doesn't work on Ezreal E. Works on Yuumi.
Yeah, Yuumi Gragas.
Works on Gragas.
Yeah. I just wasn't entirely sure, but it's a blink, I guess. So it's not a dash.
No, it ignores.
Yeah, okay. Because if it worked against Ezreal, then it would be a really, really good pick.
No, it's just a lot of LCK junglers just like the Poppy a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a flex pick, right? It could go jungle as well as top.
On the jungle bans here, right?
That is true, actually.
And did you mention that? I think.
Sorry. I'm talking about the fact that theoretically the Poppy can also be a flex for the hands.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because it'd be a heavy CC bot lane with the Samira. I don't think you're happy playing Poppy into Ezreal, but
no, for sure not.
So I think normally as Damwon Kia you could go really heavily indexed on the jungle bans here, right?
That is true, actually, because
but
we have like an insane jungler when it comes to picking champions, and we have an insane support on the side of Genji.
Yeah.
So,
and
yeah,
Foreshadowing from Atlas here. It's really
I
really
think that
funny,
obviously
considering that
that's
fucking
the one
Singe
that's
is getting
probably gonna be
picked.
particularly great
Yeah.
But in a pinch, if you really want to use that flex potential, you could do it. The Poppy has still enough CC available for Samira to kind of play off of. So I wouldn't mind it as much as more of Showmaker's Comfort gonna get banned away here. And the Corki...
So I think something that's super, super important, if you can mention it, I think you have time.
No, I have time. Here you have time. Yeah, because this is like the first phase of the draft is over.
Exactly.
And I think that what we talk about right now here is kind of filling. So here is definitely the room for more stuff.
So Ezreal Yumi in general is something that lacks a lot of wave clear, and you can just slow push on all the time. So if you could mention something like if you can slow push a couple, like 2 waves, and then crash the 3rd wave into the tower.
Yeah, with a Poppy gank.
And with Poppy gank and mid lane roam, then you can force a 4v2 or 4v3. Of course, they locked the Corgi here, so it might not be possible. But it's really important that you can mention the fact that if you can slow push 2, crash 3, have jungle come down, he can even go mid first, make sure that he has cover, they walk down together, then you can force a dive in. But I'm not sure how you can mention this, but just mentioning something like...
Yeah, I think this be with the fact that Corki is already locked in.
Yeah.
This probably you discussed this during the early game when you talk about like where you want junglers to start, what do you expect of early pathing, and what are the like. Generally, as a caster, you try to hit early, mid, and late game like very briefly.
Yeah.
During the end of either the end of draft or the first 3 minutes of the game. So people know what to expect, right? So like, what is the power curve going to be? Where are teams strong? Where are teams weak?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's just you could also do it after the game, right? Where you can talk about what you can do to punish Ezreal Yumi. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Here, I don't think that specifically the the way that you punish the Ezreal Yumi is really an opening. But there is definitely something better to be said here than what we're saying.
Exactly.
I just don't know what it is.
There's not a lot to say because the way that they have drafted here doesn't really punish Ezreal Yumi, but you can talk about how you should be punishing the 1-2 Ezreal Yumi because again,
that's good.
This just shouldn't be.
The scaling is insane.
Yeah, if you let them scale for free, they will 1v9 the game. Like it's just gonna happen. There's nothing you can do. Maybe Corki can take over, but if you let them scale and you let them play the game for free, even though they have one of the most lackluster wave clear bot lanes in the entire game.
Yeah, no, they will, especially Korean AD carries, they're fucking psychopaths.
Yeah, they're really fucking good on this champ. For sure. So this is how you should punish this, and if they do something like this, like the game is just won in my book. Like you cannot do this if you draft correctly on Genji's side, because you can if the jungler is covering them on the 3rd wave, you can just force the jungler out, and then you can just repeat the same cycle where when the wave is dead and the wave bounces, you just slow push again into them, and you just repeat, and then eventually he will be down so much CS. And this is something you could talk about after the game, because I think this is not something you can really mention here. There's not really anything to say. You can just talk about the fact that they can't really punish them in lane if they don't lock something.
Yeah, I think that something that is good to do here, like, and again, there's very limited time, but ideally in a best case, like smashing the cast scenario, what you do here is you'd very quickly summarize. So we have, on one hand, the scaling elements of the Ezreal Yumi. On the other hand, we have the Corki, but Ezreal Yumi is not going to be punished. So in the second half of the draft, we'd expect Genji to try and get themselves a top counter pick, is my expectation here.
Yeah.
I expect them to go for R4 support because they already enemy bot lane, and then R5 a top lane. Although they can also R4 top lane because of Gragas already being locked in. And like in the LCK, it's that they don't flex the champion.
That's kind of sad, right? But
yeah,
I agree with you
it's
for
the
sure.
reality of the matter. But
I agree with you.
I feel like ideally that's what we'd hit in the time that we have now, and I don't think I do that super well.
I agree with you for sure. Like you should definitely talk about the support. If you don't lock support here, you're just trolling. There's no point. Like you already see the bot lane, and no matter what jungler they lock here, that doesn't change. Like they could lock Karthus, they could lock Eve, they could lock Ivan, they could lock Lee Sin. So, like it doesn't matter. No matter what, nothing will change here. So you pick support on 4 and then you save counter for 5 on top. I think that's like very straightforward. So obviously I hope that you say that, but definitely should mention that.
Yeah.
Kind of play off of. So I wouldn't mind it as much as more of Showmaker's comfort gonna get banned away here. And
Corgi, like not the Corgi, but the Syndra will just be able to deny the mid push and will be annoying for all of them to play against, because it's not, in my opinion, this has nothing to do with comfort. It's just they all three they're all three very like they hate Syndra because they have to play like first of all, she's really good into this lane. She will be able to get prio, she will be able to punish you. A good Syndra will win every matchup. The only matchup she couldn't win back in the day would be Lucian mid, but that doesn't exist anymore. So
yeah,
a good Syndra wins every matchup, and Showmaker is arguably one of the best, right? So, and for the rest,
it's more about what they've locked in.
Exactly. It's just like Syndra will be very obnoxious to deal with for all of them. So I wouldn't say it's something to like comfort. If for me, when a like caster says something about like comfort, it's more so because they don't really understand why it's banned, because I think Showmaker is someone who's comfortable on every champ, right? In my opinion.
That's a really good point. No, I agree.
In my opinion, when I think of Showmaker, I don't think there's something he's more comfortable on than others. So when I hear a caster say something like this is comfort pick, it just sounds, or it screams to me that you are not comfortable like saying why it isn't good. So I think that's something that you can think about and work on in future, for sure, because like they are pro players, they are getting paid like 1 million a year. They should be comfortable on all champs for their lane, like all meta champs, I guess, right? I don't know how you think about that.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So
I mean, I even with the criticism we give the LCK, I feel like often it's more due to the coaching staff than is the players. Like,
for sure, 100%.
Being a Renekton one trick to like fucking solo bowling people on every single champion.
Yeah, 100%.
Matchups.
100%. Like 100% agree that like the players, they are good enough to pilot every champ. So it's more up to like what the coach wants in terms of draft than what the player wants, because you know how in like the Asian culture is like the guy in charge is like they will all listen to him, from what I've heard at least. So if he says we go Renekton, they go Renekton. They will not say, okay, I think we maybe will like this will maybe be better. They will just listen, from what I've heard at least.
I can't really comment on the coaching dynamics because I don't have enough info.
Yeah,
but it doesn't. For the point, it doesn't really matter. Like regardless of comfort or not, I do think that, as you pointed out, in case of Showmaker, comfort is irrelevant. So mentioning it is unnecessary. Just talk about why Syndra is good, because
and I think
it's two short range characters and a character that gets bullied in lane.
Yeah, for sure. So like when you think of comfort, just think of the draft instead. I think that's just the easiest way, like the easiest fix. When you think something is comfort, just think about the draft instead and why it might be good, because that will help you a lot. And it will also help like more high elo players to, or not high elo players, but more low elo players to understand why it might be good.
One of the players that today hasn't really been playing up to his usual level. Yes, I'd agree too. His damage has been insane, and I think that.
So this is just storyline.
Yeah.
Justified criticism as to,
and I think that's fine, right? I think that's needed as a caster.
Yeah.
And yeah, you could talk about what the other team wants. The other team wants to deny dive, and they want to deny, this early pressure from a North, Elise, Singed. I mean, Fresh is not banned for some reason. Could be Blitzcrank, but Blitzcrank is really shit into Yumi as well. But they just want to deny the early pressure, and that would take like 5 seconds to say. I would say.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Just talking about what they want to deny. And
Yeah,
what
I
they
don't
want
think
to
I
deny.
talk about the support pick at all. Which I definitely should.
For randomly getting caught or overextending continuously, and I don't expect that to see that continue here as the Vex.
Why do you think they banned Vex?
Glad that Nautilus is gone. Would expect a Leona.
Let me look. Same reasons, right?
Kind
Same
of.
reasons. That's why you'd
Kind
don't
of.
want to fucking bother with
Because exactly, like the fear will be obnoxious for both of these as well, and like the way you have drafted already, you're gonna have a theme where these two champions will kind of be replicated with these two next champions. So low range have to basically like fight in your face. They cannot poke, and you have to replicate it when you pick this and this. So the fear will be very hard.
Get fucked really
Yeah,
hard.
the fear will be very hard to play against. So I think the Vex ban is good, and this is something you could mention. Again, just nothing to do with comfort, just the draft in general.
No. I agree. It's a good point.
Nice. Because you mentioned the Naut here, and that is also like
I don't
good.
expect that to see that continue here as the Vex gets taken away, and glad that Nautilus is gone. Would expect a Leona to get taken out here as well.
Because you see how you just say like the Vex is taken away, and then you just go straight to the Naut instead of talking about why it's actually taken away. And I don't know how much time you have. Right, this is up for you to decide. I just want to make sure that you have all the cards you need.
No, I think talking about the you can take the space here. Would be an option.
Because I think it will take like 5-6 seconds. Obviously, I'm explaining it to you, but 5-6 seconds will probably take to talk about why certain picks are banned, and you can also talk about if it's actually a good ban or a bad ban. Because these two are good, but what if they ban stuff like, I don't know, like they ban maybe Fresh or something, right? They have Yumi. That would be pretty bad ban. Doesn't make sense. But I think you understand my point.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
And that is singed.
Is that you?
Yeah.
That is singed.
No, that's too funny.
That to be support.
Lahens.
Lahens was a singed and elite support main 5 years ago.
There is
I want it.
no way.
I mean, this is exciting for like the average viewer. The way that you do this is just very nice. Like I think you just hype it up by your reaction, so nothing but like good. Like you don't even talk about the pick. You can talk about it after, but like hyping it up is so good.
Yeah, I don't think I do a good. Actually, we talk about it later. Let's see. I don't really know or remember whether it was good or bad. We'll find out shortly.
Yeah, because like right now, the moment he locks a pick like that, you just hype it up. Like don't talk about. If it was me, I would just go straight to the point and say like, okay, so since it's good here because if Yumi goes out, WE, okay, that would be very boring, But for you, just hype it up and then you can talk about it after. Because that's what makes it different for like a caster and a coach.
Too much at stake. There's too much going on in this game. We can't also have people picking up the Singe, and maybe it turns out to be Singe top. That's fine, but you said it. Like, it's Lahens.
It's Lahens, and this is Singe. That's what's bothering me. Is that I know.
You'd be more.
And I think the rest of the draft.
I know, I kind of would.
If I am caster here, I don't give a shit about the rest of the draft. You just talk about the Singe, make it hype, make people excited for the Singe, and just don't give a shit about this. Just talk about the Singe.
Yeah, I think we do that in a little bit, but I'm not 100% sure.
Because I think every single time you see like a hyped pick, let's say they pick, Nunu jungle or I don't know, Yasuo bot lane with Gragas, you maybe just want to talk more about that and focus on that, make it hype instead of
you should.
Instead of just these random picks. Or not these random picks, but these picks. Because they're average, normal. Everyone have seen them.
That is going to mean that Gragas is going top lane or mid lane, I guess. There's 1 second to go and the victor will be taken. I think sticking to some pretty standard stuff makes some sense here for Damwon Kia because there's a Singed.
Yeah. I gotta admit, Atlas, if it ends up being Singe support, not quite well versed in the matchup. As much as I'd like,
It is. Oh, that is one.
Fucking Lahens is smart. Look at this man, dude.
Yeah.
We have also seen, but it's not likely. What is happening here? Because on support has been played.
I don't know.
I think Marta did it first.
I assume that it's what we'd expect.
Okay, and the moment this happens, in my book, you just talk about why Singed could be good or why Singed is a hype thing here. Because that is the only thing that matters. Rest of the draft, no one cares. You've seen it 100 times. It isn't fun. And if I'm average viewer, I'm just looking for fun. I'm looking for excitement. I'm looking for what's hype, you know? So you just talk about why Singed is good or why it's bad. And if you don't do that, I think you're lagging like a key element to the cast. And if you don't know, that's fine as well, right?
Yeah, no, I will say as much, I think, in a little bit.
Yeah.
The prophecies were true.
Atlas fucking losing shit as well.
I mean, it's good. I think like if I'm,
Yeah, no, I agree.
if I was casting, I would also do that.
Also, it's easy to forget, but like this is, like we've been at Lore Park for like 11 hours at this point.
Yeah.
Like it was a 6-game day. This is the 6th game in a row that we're casting. So like you'll notice this anytime. Like as the day progresses, the casters slowly go more insane.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I understand, right? When I did the 24-hour coaching stream, the more time goes by, the less you can like give, I guess.
Yeah.
So I agree with you 100%. I've been in that situation. But yeah, obviously now you just talk about the Singed pick. Anything else doesn't matter. Okay, someone is saying your mic is low. I'll just turn it up. You don't have to do anything.
Alright.
Can you talk?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot better.
But against an Ezreal Yuumi, it wouldn't be the conventional pick that I would head towards. But it's Lehens. Gotta trust it.
And of course, like the Singed isn't better than having something like Caitlyn Zona, or you could even go Vayne Zona, and like there's so many things you could have done better. But that doesn't matter. Now we have the situation, and you just talk about that, of course.
So I think here you do very short setup, and then we go into the Singed, if I remember correctly.
More than 6 items. How do I get more than 6 items? And Doran's like, I got you, bro.
Yeah, what did you say? I had to fix the stream. This mic was slow.
It's fine. This is not relevant. This is just like very short overall expectations for the setup. Like, what do you expect? So we don't have to talk about it later.
Of course.
It's like, Trophy's like, no, I need more than 6 items. How do I get more than 6 items? And Doran's like, I got you, bro. I will build them for you.
We need more power!
Yeah, and we need to remind you guys as to how Lehens was actually noticed by Griffin, and it was him terrorizing solo queue, playing Elise support and Singed. Just all the time. And was very good at it.
I was gonna joke about the Elise, because I'm like, oh, it's Lehens, you know, he's been playing so well, sure, there's no way, and then here we are. It's Singed support, and I need to see how this works with the Samira, because obviously the fling is going to be...
So I think already now, if you would have talked about it, you would have done it already.
I mean, we're doing it now. Like, we're starting. It starts now.
Okay, so you talk about the W and stuff like that, how interactions work.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't think I do a very good job, but I think we go over it here.
Yeah, okay.
Samira trying to get those aggressive early plays going, but traditionally what you'd see is that teams were going to try either to shove really heavily right into a Yuumi lane, which is what you would see with the variations like Caitlyn Karma, as I am pretty sure that Atlas is taking a very necessary look as...
I'm taking a gander.
Yeah, so I think this should have been just talking about the interaction with the W, so Yuumi can't actually leave Ezreal ever, or she fucking dies.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you talk about how you wanna shove into the Yuumi, but when you play versus Yuumi, it's always slow push into dive, or slow push into roam mid, or slow push into reset, or slow push into Drake, right? It can be many things, but it's always slow pushes. It's never hard shove. If you hard shove, you're trolling. You just let them free scale. It's the same with like Kassadin. You know how Kassadin works. If you freeze on him, he can't play the game. But if you shove into him, he can get farm and he can get XP.
Yeah. He just CS's on the turret, hit 6, and then you're fucked.
Exactly. So you talk about hard shoving, but that is not true. Like what's true is that you slow push into most likely dive or reset or
you try to set up a
exactly
top to bot pathing from your jungler and fuck him up.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
You can see how he actually his runes are good. I think the Singed. This is what I run on elite support as well, somewhat. Not these two, but this. And with first strike, but maybe I should try Glacial.
First strike. Singed is.
Yeah, of course not.
But you mean for the elite support, the opening?
Yeah. I was just thinking, like now I was just fear crafting in my own head, right, with Glacial. But like the runes are good. The runes are good for sure. And you can talk about that as well, right? You have so much time here where you just have free time to talk about this stuff. So I think you should just speedrun as much as you can.
Yeah.
But the most important thing here is just you can, like when you see this Ezreal Yuumi, you can't talk about like hard shoving. It's just slow push into dive, and I think that is super important, super critical for the cast and for like the general understanding. Because if you are not that high elo of a player, then you would be like, okay, so next time I'm versus Ezreal Yuumi, maybe I should just hard shove every wave, you know. That's at least how I viewed it as a low elo player back in the day. Back in the day when I was low elo player. I took so much from like the casters and stuff, so you should be as much correct as you can in what you're saying. That's just at least how I view it.
No, I agree. It's just not it's just bad phrasing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a huge problem, but it's definitely a mistake.
Yeah. It's not gigantic problem. Like it would be worse if you're talking about how a freeze is happening when there's slow pushing or stuff like that. But yeah, it's just very important to be as much correct as you can, if possible. But yeah, we should just be talking about how the interactions work with Yuumi Ezreal, I think, or Yuumi Singed.
Taking a very necessary look as
I'm taking a
What does he
gander
do?
at what Lahen's been doing in solo. He has played a few games of Singed support over the last week or so. 3 of them not necessarily winning, but the last one he didn't die and won. So taking recency bias into account.
Look, there's actually there's a guy in chat who's saying that's how I understood it when he said it initially. So thanks for clearing it up. You know, like there's so many people watching your cast, hoping to like get some improvement out of it. So that's just, you know, that's how I viewed it as a low elo player back in the day, and I think that's a lot of like how people view it when they are in the elo they're in. So like the better you are fundamentally, like the more respect you will get as a caster, in my opinion. Can you hear me or? Oh, Chronicler. Sec, my PC is dying. Okay, all right. His PC is dead. His PC is dead, guys. I'm recording the session and I will put it on YouTube most likely. But it's gonna be at least like 2-3 hours. Are you here?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, my PC died.
No, it's fine.
We're back.
You still see my screen?
Left on the no, I didn't catch. So we left on the slow pushing, shoving.
Yeah.
Era.
So for me, it is extremely important that you have like these fundamentals down in terms of wave states, because you can always just go back to the wave states if you don't have anything to say. There's always just wave states.
Always relevant.
Yeah, it's always relevant, and it will happen in every single game. And there's actually this guy in chat that said that's how I understood it when he said it initially. So thanks for like clearing it up in terms of like you were saying, you know, the hard shove.
Yeah.
So like the better you are fundamentally, the better understanding you have, the more respect you will get as a caster. And that's also one of the reasons why someone like Ellis was so, you know, highly respected as a caster, because his knowledge of the game was so high that even his way of describing things was easy for anyone to understand, and you can do the same. Like it doesn't require the like elite knowledge or elite elo to understand these fundamental
just
things.
Fundamentals.
Exactly.
Definitely being
Yeah.
I'm a very good. To the question in chat, even when you have people like Kadril or what's it called, like Vedius or Azil, I think it's important to note that casters are always going to fuck up, because like you don't have time to go back unless you like really say something stupid, like if you make a very obvious error, because you're talking so much, like you're just gonna fuck up every now and then. So don't take everything that you hear serious. It's way better to just go to a high elo streamer for your role if you really want to learn, because then they can actually talk with content, or even go to the caster when they're
I think
when they're like not doing a cast.
for sure, I think it's really good that you say this, because like the fundamental things are not always right in casts, and that's why I have it muted most of the time. Because you can get some stuff. It's basically like a coach saying, like, coaching the wrong stuff. And again, I just want to mention that the higher knowledge you have and the better fundamentals you have, the better your casts are gonna be, and the more people can watch it. Because if you are so good at your cast and you're so good at the knowledge part, anyone can watch you and learn. So you should not all, like, everyone makes mistakes. You know, sometimes I coach the wrong shit as well. That's just how it is. So, but these fundamental things are so important to have down, because that is what makes a good caster and a good player and a good coach, I would say. You ready to continue?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right.
Taking recency bias into account, things have definitely been going well. So it's not something that he's just like, give me the cinch. So obviously this is something that he's been trying to play. It's not necessarily a just pure Samira lane.
And you can also see it, right? Like before the game, like he's doing reds, raptors, most likely into Grump, and then most likely looking bot or going mid into bot. So that's just how it is versus Ezreal Yumi, because there's always going to be the slow push.
Try and punish.
Yeah, if you don't punish it, they will win the game for enemy.
He's gonna just flash on them, right? Like he has Axe Flash. I assume it's a set situation. As that's tilt. That's double ward right there. That's how you know that Dr. Mancallan in shambles. And how could you not when confronted with Singed?
Oh my, was the last, I love this. Almost every time we see an unconventional pick, it's MVP's Max. The man who got the most kill on the Scion, something that we have to say every single time. And he's the one that...
And this is pretty unreal, right? The losing push. They're actually losing push into them. Yeah. And how can this be a situation where you have drafted yourself into losing push versus Ezreal Yumi? That is just, like, that should get mentioned or said in some way, because that is just straight up sad. That's straight up sad. That just shows your drafting capability. And yes, sure, you can still punish them, but now they have push, and if they get to push in and they get to reset, in my book, if they play it well, their lane is just over. The lane is going to be dead, and then they're going to reskill.
Because then they can just always play for having the lane bounce in their favor.
Exactly.
And as long as they keep track of Poppy, they're fine.
Because if they shove, like the third wave, let's just say that, then fourth and fifth wave is going to bounce, and then they only need jungle help on wave 7, because then sixth wave wave is going to be here, and 7th wave is going to be here, and then they need help just to shove out. And if they get help, then the same thing will happen, where 8 will bounce and 9 will bounce, and then they need help again on wave 11. You know, this is a lot of, like, you know, thinking ahead of time, but you understand what I mean?
Yeah, no. I mean, like, we'd never go this in depth in cast, but
of course,
as you mentioned, should definitely. I think the main thing that I would have actually 100% would have needed to hit is more info on the Singed here, but I was kind of thrown, because again, it's like I did not see the Singed support angle. That's the biggest issue, I think. Although I would have liked to at least note the fact that Dr. and Callan hit 2 earlier here.
Yeah, and I just want to mention as well, because someone in chat is saying, I thought they let the lane push to make gank easier. That's also true. That's probably what they are doing. But we still shouldn't be in a situation where you are not the ones that are dictating what should happen in the lane. Because if Ezreal Yumi plays it well, they play really far back, and they just farm with Q, then this situation is not going to accelerate into getting a kill or something. But if they play it wrong, then yes, it can work out. So I just want to mention the fact that they are most likely just letting it push. But they still shouldn't be the case when they draft Ezreal Yumi on 1-2. But for you as well, I don't think you should be talking about this, right, in terms of...
No, but it's still good to know.
Yes, exactly. It's good to know. It's needed knowledge for you to have, because now then, like, you know also what you need to be talking about in terms of bot lane with the wave states. If camera pairs like goes down to bot, you already know what is happening. And if you know what's happening, you already know what to say. It's just going to be one fluent motion, and you don't have to think at all.
Yeah.
So that's how I view it in terms of why you need to know this.
Pull out the Singed. He was playing top lane at that point, and had to fill in, I believe, for... Oh man, who was ADD back in the day? I think that was how it worked. And ADD was feeling sick, and so it was an emergency moment. Max came in, played Singed top. Didn't work. It was a fun story.
Didn't work.
Fucking love Atlas.
Yeah, he is also one of the good casters. He's so fun. Didn't work. But yeah, you see how like...
Yeah, Poppy was looking. And also the fact that Canyon knows this as well.
Yeah, exactly. Canyon knows this as well from the draft, so he's obviously also going to be down here. And because you drafted Corki, you won't have push, and you won't have the numbers advantage. You won't have the 4 versus 3. Because if you have the 4 versus 3 and you have the push, it doesn't matter if Canyon knows, because he can't stop it from happening.
You'll have an extra member.
Yeah, you'll have an extra member, and you'll have a shove, and then maybe, worst case scenario, you force a TP out, and you just leave, and you do the same thing, because next time they can't TP. And if he doesn't TP, you just kill them straight up onto the tower. If you have a better dive comp, and if you play the Caitlyn Zona, you don't have to dive them. You can just take the plates and then roam around on the map and take the other plates. So extremely important knowledge, because this I knew already. Like, I don't think I watched this game. I watched maybe a couple minutes of it. Yeah. But this I knew already, and this you can also know, because it's just fundamental knowledge of playing against these champs. Yeah, and as I said, like, now they let it push, but they can't kill them because they are playing it safe on Domon. And in the best case scenario, you flash on them really, really fast in the lane, so they don't have flash, and you can just hex flash and kill him next time.
Yeah, the set special.
Yeah, exactly. You just burn his flash, because trading flash for flash is always going to be worth it.
It is definitely a Samira thing to, need to have some sort of heavy amount of CC, and also the goop that you can throw on the ground, making sure.
Yeah, and in my book now, the lane is just over. Ezreal just resets, he gets his tier, and if they freeze, sure, but it doesn't really matter, because this is not a freeze, this is a slow push into Ezreal Yumi. And you just let it slow push, you don't have to push on them. You just farm with Q, and you just let the wave push, and you are just safe for the rest of the game. And this is really shit for Denji, because then they got through laning phase for free. And they just reset, do you see it? Because they know it's slow pushing. They know it's slow pushing, so they don't have to be in lane.
Free reset of the state.
Yeah, exactly. It's a free reset, and he gets tier and boots for free. And I mean, you can also like talk about starter items if you want, because you will never go Doran's Blade on Ezreal unless it is absolutely essential. Because I don't know if you watched, a video of mine where I talk about starting items on AD, but you are just wasting so much gold, where a longsword already goes into your next item, but with longsword you are selling it, and then you lose so much value. So you only do it if it's essential for, like, if the 80 HP is essential for lane for you to survive. And in my book, it is not really essential this game, because if you just play safe and you don't go flash range into Singed, you're just fine, right?
Yeah, you never at any risk because you're fucking Ezreal.
Yeah, exactly. And as I said, like, if you sell the item, you lose so much gold. So you'll only do it if it's really essential.
Outside of stop Darmonkia from having fun, because Darmonkia's comp is.
And again, this does not require you to have insane knowledge. This just requires you to understand the matchup in like a vacuum and understand items, because you can do this very easily.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, like, this is. I think that's the main thing with a lot of these points is that it's more about actually utilizing the knowledge. Cause
Yeah, exactly. It's right there.
Being said. Yeah.
It's right there. You know, like I'm not trying to put knowledge on you that is just
No.
you know, insanely high key. I'm just trying to put like the general understanding right there. You know, cost 450, sell 180, so you're losing so much gold. It's really insane. Yeah, and it's not gonna build into an extra item, so you have to sell it eventually. And it's just fundamental, logical thought process. It doesn't require insane knowledge at all.
The thing I love about it is the fact that Hoyer is now on Gragas, a champion that is comfortable in lane. He's up against an Ornn this time around, so actually it's not going to be too much pressure. In fact,
This is also something that can happen a lot
see that already.
when you're
We'll just be able to sit back and
casting with anyone really, but like it's really easy
To what extent
to kind of get
will you be able to accelerate
especially to put this, you kind of get swept away with what your partner is talking about.
Yeah, I mean for sure.
So that's like I said before. I think that the main thing that I'm not happy with thus far, if I'd vote review myself, is just that I've mentioned the singed, specifically like the value of grounded and steadfast presence into Gragas and Yumi, but that's not really enough.
Yeah, it is for sure not. For sure.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
like, but yeah, you're definitely like on cast. You can't be arguing with your partner about, you know.
I mean, it's not even arguing, right? Like, there's also, I think that there are a lot of stuff that you're saying is good to know, but talking about it is optional. But the same thing
exactly.
is not. That should have been covered. But I feel like we've established that already. But it's good to.
Yeah, exactly.
to
Like,
know.
well, I'm not. There's no reason for me to repeat myself. You already know.
Yeah.
But exactly, like I'm trying to give you a lot of options, and then you can take away what you want to take away. Because I'm not gonna like force anything on you, right?
No. I know.
Because while I think that, especially given the game number one, that you should be able to somehow, when you get to a late game scenario, carry.
Yeah, and you can see it, right? They're just slow pushing, and there it is. Should have happened way earlier, and he's not in range. He should be way further in range. But there it is. We knew this was gonna happen, and they fucked it up, and now lane is just over. It was really nice from Doctor.
Kane's timing is so good on these
Yeah.
type of plays as well.
Yeah, but
Because he sees the wave state and he's like, "This is fucking free."
exactly, right? He's just looking at the wave state. It's very simple, like very simple knowledge, because
Yeah, because they have to shove it in, and you know they want to look for a 1v1. So if Dogdom baits, they're gonna try and go for it.
yeah, exactly. Like, you know, they have to fight. They have to fight. If they don't fight, game is lost. So wave state is bad. They have to fix, and they try to bait, and yeah, this is so perfect. It's really just perfect. And yeah, Canyon is a mastermind at this. You know, he's always at the right place at the right time.
He's so fucking good, dude.
Yeah, he is.
I love watching Canyon.
And I disagree with this. You could also say this, because why would you push when you can just have a freeze and you can just safely play here while they're losing minions? Because I definitely disagree with the shove here. Because he's fresh off base. He doesn't have to base. There's full mana Yumi. Heal him once and he's full HP. And this is something Korea's also extremely bad at.
Yeah, it's freezing.
Yeah, I mean, just like understanding of what you can do with wave states, because in competitive play usually you see the same thing where they shove, then they shove. There's never really any like wave manipulation, which is really sad, I think, for like having the best players in the world, in my opinion.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, it's just really sad.
So real bad.
And I think you should, like, if you mention this, you get so much more credit from me.
provided you can
And
buffer
like lower elo players will learn as well, instead of just thinking shove, shove, shove all the time. What can we do with the wave? Because fresh off base, you don't want to base. You have a Yumi, 1 heal, full HP. You can't die because there's an...
Yeah, just sit and then you freeze in front of your turret and they're fucked.
Because how can he play if there's a freeze? How can Mr. Lehens play the game if there's a freeze here? It's the same with stuff like Elise, you know? You can't... Or Leona. Leona is probably a better one. If the wave is under tower, she can't fight, and then the champ is just very, very bad.
Main counterpoint to that would be, or really only counterpoint to that, would that be that open a window for Genji to go for an early Drake, right? That's the only risk that they take.
Just to make sure you are 100% sure of what I'm saying, if you freeze, it can also backstab you, because if you freeze, it's a double-edged sword. If Poppy comes down, you're just giving a free big wave to dive on.
Yeah. So you have to prune the wave. But even if you do, like, you'll be slower in your rotation if Genji want to try and push tempo really hard on a possible Drake play. Yeah. If Corking can find an opening, which I guess he shouldn't be able to, but I've seen weirder things happen with Chovy.
And if you try to like go for the Drake, there's still a freeze on you, so you can't go for the Drake for free.
Yeah, I got you.
So the only bad thing about freezing here is that you can like force a double sword where they will dive you, but that shouldn't be the case, because if you can also make a freeze into a slow push. So you freeze it for the first wave, and then the second wave you start slow pushing, because that way Canyon is reset. He does this, runs straight bot on the slow push, and then you might even be able to take the Drake or take a free reset. Does that make sense?
Yeah, got you.
Because like freezing can also be bad. I don't want to sit here and say that freezing is always the right call.
No, I'm just making sure, like I said, that I know the exact trade-offs. And
for sure.
Cost.
That's also good. Like that's really good. Yeah. Like continue to ask, because it's so good. But yeah, you would always freeze here. Not freezing is so troll.
Yeah, provided you can buffer your...
Because you're giving Canyon free time.
Not shocking.
You were setting up the wave perfectly for your jungler. Why wouldn't you do that?
And I wonder kind of how we're going to take that into account.
I can also talk about the fact that Ruler is going for...
And it seems like the answer is
I think he goes Dirk into Shield Blow, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I mean, it's understandable.
But it's something that I'd want to mention. Like,
yeah, for
why
sure.
would you do that?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. 100%. If you can bring some light to like unknown things, you should always do that as a caster. And that's what I mean by most casters are so linear in their thought process. They just go with what's built and what's happening with the game, when you could be critical about some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm never gonna be as critical.
No, for sure not.
And I know you're not arguing that, but it might also be good to like highlight, because I think that while LS provided a lot of value in terms of analysis, I also think that we lost some of the what's the best way to put this? I think that LS is really aware that even though he criticizes players, the players are still insanely good.
Yeah.
But a lot of the people watching don't. So it's always kind of a balancing act to be able to do both.
Of course. Again, I don't want you to be like Illis.
No. I know.
Yeah.
I don't. But like I'm because you're talking a lot about the thought process from your end, so I wanna
exactly. Yeah, 100%. Like I agree with what you're saying, 100%. But like these basic fundamental errors, if you can point them out, that's all I really want.
That's always good. Yeah, no, I agree.
Because it is so good for the lower elo viewer if a caster can point out fundamental errors that are happening in the game, because that will help them as well. And you have to think of yourself as some sort of a role model as well. Because I know for a fact that at least 50% of lower elo players that are watching the stream are watching for educational reasons.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course.
Because they want to get better.
That's pretty standard. No, I think that especially when it comes to pointing out things that are not as I think that items, while relevant and pro players should be a lot better at them than they are also not going to be as helpful as the fundamentals that you're talking about, wave state, matchups, and whatnot.
Yeah, because
So that's
I
definitely something I want to take away.
I definitely don't want you to like be you know talking about every single item in the game. That will also get boring at some point.
No.
But
no. I'm not planning to.
yeah, exactly. And it also requires you to have a good knowledge about the items and the compositions and stuff like that you might not like have, and that's completely fine. But these obvious things needs to be pointed out for the case of the lower elo viewer and for the case of your repetition, because your repetition can easily be the guy that actually knows, you know, the fundamentals of the game and yeah, exactly. Because when people think of Chronicler, they just think, you know, good-looking guy, caster, nice. You know, they don't think
that's the end of it.
They don't think insanely smart about the game, stuff like that. And I think you can easily change that narrative.
Yeah, a cast isn't the but as someone is saying, chat, like the key thing here is that like I don't have to do all this on cast, but some of this I know and I need to know and I can talk about, and some of it I don't even need to ever talk about on cast, but I need to reason from the position of knowing what's right, and that's why the review is really important. Even if I never mention it, knowing that it exists is very relevant.
I just want to mention the fact that like stuff like this, for example, with the freeze, that does not require a VOD review to know. And exactly. Like the pathing and stuff like that does not require a VOD review to know. So if Chronicler knows this, he will also be able to do it in the live game. And the more knowledge he has, the better it will just be to watch his cast. Because he will be doing it in a fluent motion, because he knows exactly what he's saying and what he's talking about. So that is why obviously there's some stuff that he can't say because it requires some other stuff.
Yeah, it requires like more intimate knowledge of matchups and
exactly
whatnot, but that's not really the point.
Exactly, that's not why we're doing this, because that might be taught like later on and stuff like that, but it isn't important right now. But yeah, let's keep watching. So oh whoops. Okay, fucked it a bit.
Yeah, so.
Okay, there we go. And you could talk about like jungle pathing here as well, because Canyon is pathing top. That just screams to me that they want to give the Drake, right? And they just want him to continue, it's clear. You are a jungler yourself, right? I watched you play a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to coach you as well in jungle.
I mean, definitely not a bad idea.
Because
that's the problem, right? Like I have every waking minute of my time is already spent watching you or Champions Queue or LCK.
Yeah. I mean, that's good, obviously. You don't have to play the game. I'm an advocate of the fact that you don't have to play the game to be good, but it will help you.
It helps.
Exactly. Like, there are so many players or so many coaches that never play the game, but it's not a must. It just will help you.
I do think that especially for like even basic understanding of how kits and champions work is good to just fuck around and play them as much as you can, and like item builds as well. Kind of get a feel for breakpoints and whatnot.
For sure. Like this has happened to me before, right? Where I play mid lane, and because I've played mid lane, I know the matchup in and out to some extent. Same for top lane. If you play the matchup, you get the feel for it, and that is different than watching it 100%.
No, I agree.
Yeah, and Canyon is sinning a bit instead of pathing to top when there's no push towards them.
Entire camps.
There's just camps sitting in top. Exactly.
It's fine. It's only a little bit of sin.
Yeah, and it's fine because, as I said before, like if Lumik is out of lane, they will probably just 1v9 the game. So he's giving a little bit of his own clear for his bot lane. Yeah. I mean, this has just happened because of the fact they didn't force early, right? And because the draft isn't optimal.
does
I don't actually know how Genji ends up winning this game. Must be Joey Gap.
is get out
It's
of
Nope.
the puddle.
Chovy not been playing that well this split. I
Shit.
know. I mean, he'll be good.
Yeah.
Come. Like, it's the same.
Come
Showmaker
players.
hasn't been as good
But I haven't seen Callum
as
Yeah.
he normally is, but like, it's fucking early spring, right?
Yeah,
Players
of
are
course.
players are human as well.
For sure.
And because of the relative lack of activity here, I think that as
Oh, I mean, I completely forgot to listen to what you're saying. I'm just watching the game now.
out
It's
of
the
the puddle.
Yumi. You need to make sure that the Yumi is the target that you're going for because
Yeah,
she
and that's true.
Yeah.
dishy dash to the edge.
Yumi is the target.
But I haven't seen Callum leave nearly as much as he usually does, which I think is a clear indicator that he is also aware of that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's really good. Like what you're saying right here is so
because
good.
of the relative lack of activity here, I think that
Because that is so true. Like that is true.
will
Kellen can't leave. If he leaves, he's dead.
look ahead and, like,
Yeah, because he just instantly gets engaged and dies.
Mm-hmm. He can only leave when Singed isn't in lane.
hard to answer 'cause I don't know how Lahens is going to perform in these team fights, right? Like I don't know what generally he does. Obviously, Singed always going to create a lot of chaos and confusion. Gonna be able to slow people down. Gonna be able to fling them.
He's gonna
And something that
do a lot of chemistry.
that is like very
Fling
overbought that you can think about as well is these boots right here. Because
Yeah, lucidity.
they are so overbought on stuff like Hecarim, like Poppy as well, because they don't really offer anything. They offer cooldown on your smite and on your flash. I'm not sure if you are aware of this,
Yeah.
but there is like a here. If you do this, not this one. If you do this, then you can see like the exact amount it gives.
Yeah. I know. Doesn't it also help you clear because you get more CDR, or does it not matter? For
Yeah,
most picks?
but it doesn't do much. Like you will like it the CDR you get is not gonna like help you queue an extra time or something. You will still be able to queue an extra time. So if you're buying it, it's only because you want flash up. That is the only reason why you buy it. Like the more you have flash up, the better. But is 24 seconds worth more than having like Tappy or Mercs in the situation like this, for example, or even Swifties? You could even go Swifties for your W movement speed and the slows.
Yeah, especially with phase rush. I assume you're running.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't check the rune set, but like I assume you're running.
Probably
Celerity
phase rush
as well.
and sorcery, no, not sorcery, but yeah, celerity and maybe even Nimbus cloak, but probably not.
Yeah, then just look at water walking.
And like also quickly, like the phase rush is also wrong, because all you need is Predator. You just need to be able to catch the first target off guard, and it's so overused as well with the phase rush on Poppy. It's never good, honestly. But that's just something that you could think about in the future. Like Predator is better because all you need is the movement speed to cut down the first target. And phase rush will, sure, it will allow you to do your combo and get out, but there's no real point of it because like the runes in the sorcery tree is so bad. What's it called? But yeah, this is just coaching stuff, you know. I'm not sure if you want to say this on
I mean,
Stream.
again, like on a like I think the knowledge is valuable on a basic level.
yeah.
We talk about runes, but I would explain why I think XYZ is better,
Yeah.
and then then follow up with reason why player probably picked this is because of this reason.
Mhm.
So it's more about framing the choices, framing what I think is the best one, and then giving an explanation as to what the reasoning for the player probably was.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you don't have to say what's right or wrong. You just have to give logical reasons behind X, Y, and Z, and then the player, or not the player, but the person can think for it, himself. So if you can make
Yeah,
this,
no, that's exactly my point.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you can make this critical thought process in other people's mind, that is all you need to do. You don't have to say what is right or wrong. You just have to give options and why X, Y is better, and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
player can think it's like for himself.
to slow people
because you need people to critically think, because a lot of people just go on like pro builds and look the first guy and be like, okay,
copy.
we just copy that instead of thinking.
Oh. So
Yeah, they fucked it up a bit.
that actually
Happens.
backfired, right? If Peanut is able to find a slightly different angle and get him back and keep him in the puddle, then maybe you get the split second that you need. Unfortunately, not the case. Did find a free Herald Hill though.
I wonder what Dr. said about that one. It's like, oh, another cute attempt. Potentially good knock up there onto Hoya, but this is just going to be a wet noodle fight up here towards the top side. And probably suits Hoya just fine. At this point into the game, Arrow comes down. Bella is being breathed, but nothing really to come forth from it.
Not a lot happening here.
Yeah.
But we can, if you want, we can move on to the because I feel like
A lot of stuff is irrelevant
yeah
at this point. Now you just have to like talk about the game.
There's a bunch of like individual errors.
Yeah.
There's a huge top gap. And
Yeah,
then
I mean, we
Gen Z
can.
ends up winning.
I was going
But
to
I
say the same thing.
personally- yeah, because I like what I like the most is making sure that like the things like the obviously talking about the Singed as well as the early wave states and the expectations going into the game to me are the most important,
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. So
because that
I don't mind.
everything follows from that, right? Like
Yeah.
how good your initial setup is.
I think something that's also super important for you to know, it doesn't happen here, but the chain reaction, that is extremely important for you to know and like explain. Like, let's say, you know, a dive happens in bot lane. Let's say they go bot and they dive, the thing that I talked about before.
Yeah.
What happens now is a chain reaction, because if it doesn't happen, another outcome happens, right? Let's say you drink water and then you have to go to the toilet. Maybe if you didn't drink that water, you didn't have to go to the toilet. So there's always a chain reaction to some situations. If you can understand the chain reaction, you can always like go back to the trail.
Yeah, I think the only one where I feel confident, the only role where I really feel confident doing that is in jungle.
Yeah.
Talking about like the impacts of early pathing, or if people get invaded early, how it splits the map. But I don't feel as comfortable when it comes to. I guess it's mainly bot lane because, like, let's be honest, right now mid lane and top lane are kind of irrelevant in terms of they like top lane. They just
Top lane doesn't do
noodle each
much.
other with Hellbreaker, and then mid lane is getting better, but it's been like a fucked in a Victor Corki, which is
Yeah, and again,
also not.
maybe shouldn't be like that, and something you can talk about, but
Yeah, I mean we've seen fucking Vega being banned now and being
Yeah.
respected, and like
Yeah.
slowly more stuff is happening. Even in
exactly.
fucking LCK.
A lot of new stuff is
That's good.
happening. You know, C9 drafting, for example, something that I am very happy about. New
Of
stuff,
course.
new way of playing the game. Always enjoyable, always happy to like welcome new stuff into the game. Unless it's Janna top. Don't want that.
No, I agreed.
But like new stuff is always really happy. Like you should always
I
be really
agree.
happy about. But
I don't think like for all I care, LS could win or lose. I don't really mind either way. But the key takeaway for me is always that, in like, because I come originally from StarCraft, right? Like in StarCraft, the amount of different builds and like the diversity in actual strategies between cheese and like all-ins and everything in League was so much less.
yeah, and it shouldn't be
So
like
much
that.
less. No, exactly. And I'm happy to see that being pushed. And if you look at challenges, it's actually way better. So I really hope that they maintain that as we go into as they like make their way into the actual LCK, because
Yeah.
younger players don't give a fuck, man. They'll punish a lot more.
Yeah, they know.
And our main LCK teams do.
100%. Like there's so many, how do you say it, like stagnated mindsets in the game at
Yeah.
the moment. Like so many stagnated ways of seeing the game.
I love cheese. Like cheese is good. Cheese is healthy.
Yeah, it is, but also like it's only cheese because people are not used to it. So like it shouldn't be, you know, cheese. It just should be.
Yeah,
fact
no,
that-
but like I'm fine with calling it cheese. Like I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think.
fine.
Again,
It's fine,
it's
you're-
coming from StarCraft, right? So it's really different
Yeah.
terminology than. But I 100% agree. I think that. I really really hope that the LCK does that, because I'm pretty sure that, and then we'd start winning worlds again. That would be great. I would like that a lot.
Yeah, I mean the only reason LCK isn't winning worlds is because they're so stagnated in the way they view drafting. That's how I see it.
If fucking Genji can make it one game of like, imagine if that team actually drafted like human beings. Like, can you just like, I still can't fucking comprehend that they were one game away from making it to finals, man. Because that team is literally the most example of all hands, no brain. It's actually unreal.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore. They have hands now, but
yeah. I mean, for sure. But again, like some stuff you need to think about. Obviously, the chain reaction. The chain reaction is so important.
Yeah, that's why I want to do the. I don't know if you watched it. Game 3 between Damwon and T1.
Yeah, we will do that for sure.
Because there's a really good example there of early game impact.
Yeah, we will do that. Let's do it. But let's just quickly watch this here. I just want to see what you say because I think it's very important. And then we go to the other game. When does it start? Like here? Or even before?
And the game. Oh yeah, that's not going to be that much. Maybe actually, I don't know. Yeah, you can try.
Because this is where you have time to shine, right?
Yeah, I'm fucking toast here, so
I'm
not expecting much. But let's see. Let's see what happens.
Jesus, no, but yeah, like this is where you have time to shine, and you have time to actually give your takes on the game because your takes are not bad if they actually make sense.
Yeah.
That is what I've read. It's been a while since I've caught back up on my my Singe strategy guide. There's been I like champions where dying more equals good. So Sion and Singe, definitely some favorites, but I was not expecting that one to come out today, but I am very, very happy that it did. The idea of it, really, really cool. The execution almost worked a couple of times until it absolutely did the third time in lane, and we got to see exactly what it was all about. But man, I kind of wish that we had
probably should do a little early actually, because I think we're no, we have a little bit more time. This is always kind of weird because some days you can keep going. I think we do a little bit more.
It's just I can see this right here. So
yeah.
Yeah, we have actually 4 because we have the analyst chairs.
Yes.
Carpet space.
Yes.
Cooperative chairs and
the analyst chairs and collaborative carpet space.
And then the desk.
And then the desk.
Just talk about random shit.
Fucking LCK, dude. God bless.
So does that mean that I think the analyst chairs has kind of been left behind to the carpet space. I wonder whether that's going to come back. But
the fuck are you talking about?
That it is still day.
We are toast, dude.
Yeah, I can see.
We've been in Lore Park for 12 hours at this point.
I can see. I think, I don't know, something that I think you should think about as well is that when people think of Chronicler, what do you want them to think about? For Ellis, for example, when he casts, when you think Ellis as a caster, you think slandering Morello, praising Leandris, and talking about drafts. I think a lot. Here's a lot of high knowledge, I guess. High knowledge, Morello, and stuff like that. Your thing could be drafting knowledge. It could be, I don't know, Phage. You could steal my Phage.
Do not worry. It's been mentioned a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Did you give me a shout out then?
Of course.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't know when, but yeah. I mean, I've talked about you, Molecule, because you gotta give credit to the people whose shit you use, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Vega, especially when the Vega was pulled out for the first time by Lava, talked about his guide a lot.
Yeah, I mean that's really good. It's good to see. But yeah, what do you want to be known as? I think it's super important because you have to have some sort of identity. Do you want to be the guy that knows everything about draft?
It's not gonna be a knowledge thing, but I don't really care whether or not it's my thing, because I want my knowledge to be as good as possible regardless.
Yeah, I just want to mention that I think you can easily be that guy because there is no one like that yet. I think Casual is the one that comes the closest, but general fundamental understanding and fundamental understanding of lanes, waves, and jungle, and then items. Do you want to be the guy that knows everything about items? I think that is very doable. As long as you just read the items, I think you will be aware of it. And if you have like questions, you can just ask me, and then you can be the guy that knows everything about the items. Because there's no one like that as a caster that talks about items. And having someone like that would be so good for the scene and so good for LCK. Like it would be so good. And for like lower elo players, they would be like, wait, okay, so Frozen Heart is actually an item. Wait, I didn't even know that. I thought Vengeance was just the case every time, you know?
Yeah.
But I think we just go to
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I mean, we can watch this for entertainment purposes, but like I guarantee you, we should watch. It's probably funny.
Darmonkia and Gen G. You have to remember as well that this was Gen G winning on red side when blue side had won the whole way through. Man, there's just too many things. First pick Yumi, there's a lot. Didn't really work out here.
There's a lot. It's just chilling.
Because sometimes it's hard with Atlas.
Yeah.
You can't blame us because it's Lehens and it's Singe support.
Yeah.
But I think the key takeaway here is that much more so than the Singe, the Samira has been a key counter pick and what a lot of LCK teams have identified as like a champion that actually does well into it, which, considering the amount of damage she pumps out in a very limited amount of time, does make sense. Blade War was really good into the Yumi as well. To me, the real mistake, again,
like I completely disagree with this, right? I think if you pick Samira into Ezreal Yumi, you are kind of griefing.
Because it shouldn't work, right?
Yeah,
it's relying on them fucking up.
Yeah, kind of, but also if you pick Samira, you pick something that can pair like really well. Puppy is fine. You could even go Elise, even though Elise sucks balls right now. But like Elise, Lee Sin, and Sao, if you could go Syndra as well, that would be fine. And then you go like Singed can work, but like now Leona, Thresh, and you just perma-dive them bot lane. You perma-slender on them bot lane. But if you don't do that and you just pair the like Samira with the Corki and Singed, I mean sure, but you're just hoping. You're hopium, right? Hopium.
Gotcha.
So I think it's fine that you talk about it like this, but I think you should be able to
identify why it's not good.
Yeah, why it isn't good, even if it worked, right? Because like what's it called? When something works but it shouldn't work, what is it called? It has a word, but for some reason I completely forgot about it. Yeah, exactly. Like result-based analysis is one of the worst things that like coaches and players and casters, they use a lot, but it should just be completely removed because it is such a bad thing that just shouldn't exist in my book. Because I think it's fine if it works, and it should work, then it's fine because the result-based analysis is good, and in theory it works.
I agree with you. I feel like that's kind of what happens in the LCK regardless because of our teams being so reluctant to adopt any form of change. So we have this a lot with picks like Ryze and Renekton.
Yeah, exactly.
Our teams just keep picking it, and then we just kind of at some point start like, guys, this isn't fucking working. Like, let it go.
Yeah, like it's people fight stone with stone instead of fighting, stone with paper.
Yeah.
And
I get it.
It works because people are letting it work. It doesn't work if you actually draft the paper,
I mean, we've seen this stuff with like fucking G2 back in the day as well, right? And I think that Korean teams just aren't that good at dealing with unorthodox strategies in general. Also, like, I can, like I said, I can guarantee you that whatever's going to come out of my mouth here, it's going to be very surface level.
Yeah,
that's fine.
It's just autopilot at this point,
dude. Because especially on Sundays, because we also record POC State, so we do like a 2-hour podcast recording. Then we have 3-hour break, and then we had 6 games. Yeah, and this is the 5th day in a row, so it's just doomed.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, it's fine, right? I think, but what I want you to try and see is that if you can get your autopilot level to a good level,
to higher.
Yeah, exactly.
That's still good. Yeah, no, of course.
Exactly. So you should just try to get the autopilot level as high as you can, because even then, like, you're gonna be good. Like, it's the thing with me. Like, if I autopilot, I'm still gonna be better than most people.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Because that's just my low bottom level is so high that it's fine if I do it, but of course you should still try to avoid it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No,
the better knowledge you have,
I know what you mean.
the better knowledge you have, the more you can autopilot, and it will still be really fucking good. So
Yeah.
that's just how I view it.
Felt like his impact wasn't that big is that core key. I think that core key creates situations where, as a team, regardless of the state, you're forced to just go in because.
Okay, so you're just talking about how the draft like was fine, right? Not what should have maybe happened, which is whatever.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I think it doesn't matter now because we talked about it here, so it doesn't really matter now.
Yeah. Can go to the next game.
Yeah. Is this one right?
Timing isn't. We should just go to game 3.
Okay.
But it won't be at the very end because that's like this is the second series.
Oh,
'cause
yeah,
it's
yeah.
both. So it's
Yeah.
a little bit further because this is game 2.
This is game 2, yeah. There it is.
Because there's a lot going on in this draft.
So this is patch 12.2. This is where like people think that Jinx is really, really broken and can just be first picked or what? Or what is going on with like LCK drafts?
So specifically, both of these players will 100% blind pick Aphelios into anything in hard carry.
All right.
Like unironically, like I think that there's things like Ziggs and Twitch is obviously not on the radar on this patch, but I think Twitch is fine as well on live. But like Ziggs has just been ignored mostly, and within that framework, Aphelios, but piloted by either Doctam or Guma is just a free win. So as a result, I think the Jinx ban draws out a guaranteed Aphelios ban because that's the only answer, and it's not even that.
Yeah, and
provide that much.
like it's the only answer in LCK, but it isn't the only answer.
No, I mean I know it isn't.
Exactly.
Right? Like I know that there's other options.
But
again,
I just want to mention quickly.
Yeah.
If you are picking stuff like this, let's say you have Thresh Aphelios. Let's just say you go first pick Thresh or first pick Aphelios. If you give this, even if you play stuff like this, let's just say we go full outrange on them. We go this, then we go something like, I don't know. But this would be like
Jace,
typical LCK draft. Jace, and then maybe Orianna. Like it still can, even though you completely outrange them and it's hard for him to play, he still has tools because Thresh on Karma is force flash, and then if you hit a hook, you still are able to get ahead in lane. And if you get too far ahead, they can't play the game. So it's not like if you just outrange them, it's good, because if he's paired up with something like Thresh and the Thresh Aphelios is really good at the combo, they are still able to easily like force stuff on the Jinx Karma. It's still doable. It's just way harder. But if you maybe pair this guy up with this instead, then he can't play the game. Like you can just do stuff like this maybe. Like,
yeah, exactly. When there's no Thresh, the equation changes.
Yeah, exactly. If there's something that can't, if he's forced, like if he's paired with something that can't force on the Karma or on the Jinx, then he can't play the game. This is Gwen, by the way. If you pair him up with this, how can you play Aphelios if Malphite ults you with Ori Ball and you get outranged by all of them? I don't care if you are 10-0, you will still die. Maybe if you do this, he can survive, right?
I agree.
Maybe if you do this, he can survive, but...
Well, that's not happening.
Even then, it's gonna be hard. I'm just saying that that's not happening in LCK ever in a million years. So this would be like a typical draft, I guess. And stuff like Leona is different than Thresh.
They generally go Nautilus with Aphelios.
Yeah, and Nautilus is okay as well. Thresh is just way easier because he also can peel. Like Naut can't do that.
I don't know why a lot of our players have dropped the Thresh prio so much.
Yeah, I really don't as well, because Thresh
we've been wondering about it as well.
It's really crazy champion.
Yep. I mean, we have fucking Carrier and like a bunch of other people that
I mean, you have the best supports in the world, I would say. Like maybe LPL can contest, but LCK supports are, like, when I think of it, the best, at least. And Thresh is Thresh is the most skilled
I don't
support.
get it either, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know as well, so I can't tell you why, because if drafted correctly, Thresh can be obnoxious. And even if you have a suboptimal draft for Aphelios, you still have tools to win the game. You still have tools to force in lane. But if you pick something like Lulu or Leona, you don't. Until 6 at least with Leona. So I just want to mention that with the Aphelios and with the Lulu. Or not the Lulu, but the Thresh, Prio and Jinx as well. But yeah, let's watch.
That we used from Showmaker, right? The Syndra, I think always comes to mind. The Scatters, Zoe is another one, finding those crucial bubbles. Key thing though, Kia this time around, they are on a blue side. Is it going to be the first pick Kate? Is it going to be first pick Aphelios? Remains to be seen as the respect ban comes through.
I mean, this was the same as in game 1. They banned Jinx, Thresh, Renekton, and the fact that Thresh priority was just completely absent, even the pick away, that's where the curiosity really comes in. Is Corki going to be the second ban, much as it was in game number 1? Last two should theoretically be Renekton and Diana if we're going to have exactly the same opening ban.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that we know Callan is amazing Thresh. We've seen Doctor Callan.
This is us also molding. Like this is effectively molding, right?
Yeah, but it's good. I think
broadcast. Yeah, no, I know, but like this is broadcast version of molding.
You can't hear the YouTube sounds?
No, I can.
No, it's the viewers. They're saying they can't.
Oh.
We've seen Dubmon do this.
I mean, I cannot turn it up higher, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I can't turn it up higher. I think it just is naturally low. I will try to put it down a bit. Or a bit higher. I will put it as high as I possibly can, and then we see if it works. Because obviously I want you guys to be able to hear as well.
Into harsh relief.
Okay, I think it's good now.
The way ever do
Legends gameplay, but
it works now, right?
I gotta say, a lot of the mid laners right now
Chat.
are a lot more control oriented, showing that you don't have to.
It's just Chronicler speaking low.
But Orianna, Victor, these champions are not necessarily.
I can't turn it higher now.
High impact plays that we used from Showmaker. One respect ban comes through.
I mean, this was the same as in game 1. They banned Jinx, Thresh, Renekton, and the fact that Thresh priority was just completely absent, even the pick away, that's where the curiosity really comes in. Is Corki going to be the second ban, much as it was in game number 1? Last two should theoretically be Renekton and Diana if we're going to have exactly the same opening bans.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that we know Callan is amazing Thresh. We've seen Doctor Callan.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really good, right? This is what I want from you. I want you to like talk about like stuff that like let's say first pick Thresh. In my opinion, good if paired with the right champs. Like, why would you ban it if there's something else? And then they probably start, like, they probably first pick some shit champ instead.
That's why their stock was through the roof last year, right? From exactly that lane.
And that makes me believe that, because we've seen Dubmon do this a lot, just put an incredible high amount of priority on Callan on specifically engage support, because he's been put on Nautilus duty a lot as well, and so does the Leona. So might be something that is happening in scrims where this works out the best, most successful for them. And oh boy, okay, Renekton,
Caitlyn,
no, it's gonna be Aphelios first pick.
It can't be.
I feel like it should be Caitlyn. But after that previous game,
but after the first game,
you talking about Caitlyn first pick here?
Yeah.
Chronicler, I'm disappointed in you. No, I think Chronicler. No,
because they can answer with Jin Karma or S Karma or anything Karma.
They just neutralize the lane. If you neutralize the lane, the champs are better. In my opinion, that you will pick here almost no matter what. But 6 is one of the best for this task, because if you have like 6, maybe you go board.
6 does. I don't know what you're talking about. 6 doesn't exist in the LCK.
Oh yeah, that's true. My bad. I forgot they removed that champ in LCK.
Yeah, it doesn't. Like that's why we can always blind pick Aphelios. Doesn't exist actually.
Yeah. Like all champs that can actually like outrange shoot does not exist. My bad.
No. Except when it's Jace. Jace is a good dude.
Yeah, Jace is a nice guy. Yeah. No, but like, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't mean you can't talk about it, right? Because when I want to think of Chronicler, I want to think of someone who actually has knowledge about the game and is not just going with the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if it isn't happening, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It just means that people are.
I know. It's just that like I think that generally I would pick entertainment over harping. And it's different on the endless desk, and it's different on my own streams as well, where I'm much more critical. But like on broadcast, if I've already said 2 times today over the course of like the 6 games that this should be banned or punished by XYZ and it doesn't happen, then it's probably not gonna come through.
Yeah.
Even though I agree with you that it should be mentioned.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
you should
Like,
just
I think
not this split. Yeah, I don't know
think-
why. I have no clue.
I think it's completely fine that you like choose the entertainment part over anything, but like being critical is what to me makes a caster good. Being
Yeah.
critical and being able to not just go with the flow and understand why certain things are happening and why certain things should be happening, even though they are not, to me makes a caster good. And if it makes it good to me, I think, I also value the entertainment, but just obviously not as much. I think you should just have a good mix. Don't just slander and be negative all the time, obviously. But I don't.
No. I know what you mean. Like I don't. I think that rather than entertainment, I'd probably want to just hit other analysis points. But that might be one of the reasons why. I mean, I don't know. This game was forever ago, but like that can be a reason why we wouldn't talk about it, because we've already done it to death.
Exactly. But like I've never heard a player, or not a player, but a caster say something like, "Why would you pick why they're picking Aphelios doesn't make sense, because there are champions that can neutralize the lane and just outrange him, so he can't play the game." But you can obviously say it in a way more respectful way. And I think you're a type of person that is nice.
Oh yeah, that's not odd. Yeah, that's not a problem.
You are nice. You're able to be respectful at the same time while you are being critical. You don't have to say it in a negative way. You can do that on stream, where there's no filter. But obviously, you have to be filtering some stuff in the official cast, which is obviously fine. That's just how it is. But yeah, I think you should be saying it in a respectful manner, where no one gets hurt and no one gets.
No, I mean, like I'm fine on that regard. I'm not too worried about that. That's the main thing. Yeah, someone saying chat. I think the biggest problem is you can become a broken record repeating it. It's really hard. Speaking from like the cast perspective, because I think that it is really easy to forget that, like, as a caster, you're casting days and weeks and series, right? So I think that one of the downsides of the LS era, whereas in terms of knowledge it was really good, was that exactly that happened, because the same mistakes were getting made every game.
Yeah, exactly.
But then at the same time, that I don't know, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't discuss it.
But
again, shouldn't at least
like repeating yourself will also make it so that people will know you for something. Because if you
that's true. That's
the good thing about it. Because if you say, there should be 6 priority here, there should be 6 priority here, and you say it over and over, maybe people think, okay, that's the 6 guy. I know that guy. I know this Chronicler guy. He talks about 6. Or But like if you are afraid of being like this broken record guy, there's many other picks, just not 6. So if they pick Caitlyn, it could be 6. It could be Ezreal Karma. It could be. There's so many picks. So if it happens one draft, maybe you go with the 6. If it happens second draft, maybe you go with the Ezreal Karma. If it happens third draft, you do another pick. There's so many picks. Like there's not only one pick that can do this. So if you're afraid of that, you just go with another pick and you just cycle through them. Because there's so many picks. You can even go the Jhin Ezreal. There's so many picks. So if you're afraid of that, just come up with other picks, and if you have questions, or you have like general wondering, you can always ask me, and then I will make sure that I look into it as well, and
gotcha,
and give you my take on it. So you will never become this broken record in draft because there's so many options.
No, that's true, because there's so much diversity. There's champions that are being ignored.
As long as you don't limit yourself to the fact that there's only 50 champs in the game, because there's so many champs that can be picked. So there's like 156, 57 champs, and people are so limited to these 50 champs, even though there's 150.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely feel the same way.
Yeah, one. Okay, so I mean this is just really important. For me, that you think about this, because like being a broken record can also be a good thing, as long as you don't become boring to watch. Because I don't think you will ever become boring if you have certain takes that other casters don't, because it will make you unique and make you fun to watch. Yeah.
True. I know.
Yeah,
I think Caitlyn is the safest / correct choice.
I believe so.
And I think that's what they will go for, but I would not be shocked.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's a different perspective.
Yes.
And Renekton is going
And
to
the
be
moment
first
Renekton is locked, you can just talk about what we need to do in the draft to like make sure Renekton isn't the type.
Isn't useless.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't. You haven't watched this game, right?
No, I didn't watch this.
Okay. Yeah, just keep watching. There's gonna be
something that we've seen
there's gonna be a bunch of stuff going down.
time and time again. T1 can now go towards Caitlyn Lux if they
Kate
want to,
Karma.
and Karma is available as well. Kate Karma could come in. That sounds even worse,
yeah.
or better, depending on which side of the coin you're on. And that is
Yeah.
exactly what we're going to see. And yes,
Yeah, I don't like giving over Kate Karma. It's a pretty bad idea.
It's like it can be rough, because if you don't do this where you neutralize the lane, it can be rough. And even if you do it, there's still avenues, because if you have like Kate Lux or Kate Karma, they can still trade on you, and they can still make stuff happen. And oh shit! And the same happens if you have something like Renekton, the champ. If neutralized
What would you go here? Like Ziggs
on
6 and 1.
on dumb one,
Yeah.
I would go 6 board. I think I would go 6 board.
6
And I
board.
would just, the moment 6 gets lost chapter, you just don't ever go bot again. And then he ults every cannon wave, and he takes all the other waves with Q, and then you just play for the Renekton lane. And you try to get him so far ahead that the fact that the champ is bad into this comp doesn't mean anything, because he's so far ahead, and he probably just can go brawlers into one-shot the enemy Caitlyn, you know?
Yeah.
Because the champ is bad, but if played around correctly, it can be obnoxious.
He actually does go prowlers, so that's a great moment. That's a big moment right there.
That's a hidden
does.
moment right there. That's really good, because he should go prowlers. I mean, you can already tell you now that like he should go
Yeah.
prowlers.
I mean, it's gonna get worse because they're gonna pick LeBlanc as well, which makes prowlers even more like the correct option.
Yeah, for sure. Like as long as he doesn't default into Goldringer and he goes prowlers, then the champ is good. But pretty nice of me to actually realize that.
Yeah. That's
But
why
yeah,
I'm saying it. It's
If he goes prowlers and he has board roaming and he has 6 clearing every wave on repeat, and he has a top laner or a mid laner and a jungler that can play around him, the champ can be super obnoxious. So champ isn't bad if played around correctly.
No. I mean, like it's the same. Like I've started calling Renekton or Rise AP Renekton because teams use them in exactly the same way.
Yeah,
It's like on the man prio, set up for plays and good flanks.
I just want to try something quickly with you before we stop.
Yeah, because I gotta call in a little bit. I'm actually dying as we speak.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to make sure that I don't forget it, because I think it's important for you to remember. So I just want to try something quickly before we end. We just finished the draft, I think, or do you want to keep watching for a bit? Do you want to is there something in the game you want to watch specifically, or is the draft?
Yes, the first few minutes because Canyon's gonna cheese.
Okay, all right, we do.
Caitlin's on his team.
If Senna can get popped in here, I don't know what I do, but I'd be very unhappy.
Well,
That we
that would be
saw last
certain.
time around.
Yeah, we had someone pick Senna Kench into Kate Karma lane, and the game was over at 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it was.
you can't play it again.
I was
No wave
livid.
clear. You're fucked. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I
I was really
good.
upset.
And
It
if
was
that
not a good
happens, you just slander the shit out of it.
I
in a
did.
respectful
Oh, we
way.
did. Don't worry. We did.
In the most respectful way possible. You
No,
just
we did.
slander it.
We did.
So that's good.
We
That's
did.
really
We
good.
did.
Really good.
Holy fuck, man.
Can use a dumb one skin, which is kind of cool, and that is going to be Kellen on his Yumi. So they're going to use that to try and mitigate this.
Not
lane.
good.
luck to them.
No.
I am not a big
Not
fan.
good.
I think that you are going to get shown
Vega is saying,
so
"Oh,
hard,
free win."
to dominate the bot lane here. And with Canyon being drawn towards the top side where your Renekton is, I don't
Holy
know
shit.
if this is the way. I have
Yeah,
really
good,
been
good, good.
get shoved in
Look, you said,
so
I don't know if this is
Yeah.
the way.
No, I fucking hate it. This is if I'm saying this, like, internally, I'm fucking Malden, dude.
Yeah.
No, if
And
this
I think, like, you can say this in the most respectful way, where you just say, Yumi isn't the call, because, like, we can't play around bot lane. So just go something like Bart, and play for the Renekton. And if he gets too far
Yeah.
ahead, he will be really hard to
Yeah,
deal with.
he 1v9s.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, you can still win on the Caitlyn Karma side, but if he is too far ahead, he will be hard to deal with no matter what. And if someone disagrees, they're wrong.
Yeah.
I
Any
have
champ that can get
personally
a
been
hit
bigger fan of
can
lanes
be
that
hard to
can
deal
leave
with.
Samantha to
It's
show.
just easier to
If
play,
you
and
wanna
it's not
keep
out to win if
traditionally,
they can
you've got
outrage
something
him and they
like
can
Sivir
actually
that
play the game.
really easily and reliably time it in, combined with the Senna, at least something that
Yeah,
can
and Jace is not
withstand
bad.
the early pressure that Gumayushi and Carry are gonna
Jace is
put
not
on,
bad
but
because
now
he can
2-1.
avoid,
Oh,
you know, he
that
can
is an
get prio
amount
and he
of
can make sure
early
that
and
the
late
slow push
pressure,
isn't happening into
provided
him.
how game number 2 went.
So Jace is good. I think we'll just speedrun it a bit because we're already 2 hours in, and I think
Yeah, yeah.
we've been
I'm
going on for too
I'm
long.
talking about fucking, what was it, Senna, Heimerdinger, and like other. As long as it has any form of fucking shove, man. I don't.
Yeah.
I hate the Yumi pick here so much.
What you're gonna find here on B4, B5, but it needs to
I mean,
be something.
Just
something
has to be
genius,
bored
because
and you
to
just leave him alone,
say
but then he looks
Zinzao,
chill instead of 6.
with
Yeah, unless you carrier, like
Zinzao
fucking
and
carrier,
Valorant
dude.
on
This
the
man
list,
won
I don't think that you're gonna be
as
able to
Kench
stand
into a
for
Caitlyn Karma lane. He just found another in level 2 and then they won the game. Like,
Yeah.
it was fucking unreal.
Like in those lanes, you have like the X factor, which is if
Yeah,
the
yeah,
enemy
yeah.
fucks up, and you see him win,
Or
you see him
or
win.
if you have carrier as your support, he
Yeah,
just finds the
exactly.
line.
Exactly, like if you play these lanes, you always have like the X factor of if enemy plays wave bad or they don't understand what they need to do, you are able to make a play on them, and if you kill them, maybe that turns the entire game. And this is, you know, the chain reaction that I talked about.
Yeah, yeah.
It shouldn't happen, but if it happens, what happens then? Because then you need
Yeah.
to change ball game.
Zed.
Yeah.
That's what we'll get.
blind
Pick,
Zed.
blind pick Zed, I think is definitely
Yeah,
way forward. No, it's
Fucking
definitely
Atlas.
a difficult choice. Gwen going to be considered, and this is actually something I believe was played in the LEC. I think it might have been Selfmade that played the Gwen jungle potentially. Could of course be Renekton in the mid lane, as we know can definitely go there. So it's not going to be putting Gwen guaranteed in the jungle, but could still.
Watch it be Faker on Karma and mid. Yumi at point.
Look at
Yeah,
that!
you could-
Sometimes Atlas gets it right.
Like, you could even go Karma mid and send Lux
Yeah.
bot lane.
That's
Yeah,
Was that what you
exactly.
said?
Right time to like randomly watch LEC last night.
Did you say that it
Shows
was
the
Lux,
right
but
time to,
like it could
randomly
happen?
watch LEC
I don't know. I wasn't talking about Lux, but I was talking about a punish into.
Yeah, okay.
I
Yeah,
like it a
I
lot.
think that's fine as well. You don't have to be specific.
And this is
Yeah.
Faker's LeBlanc, so that's
But
gonna
you
be
can.
locked in
If
as
you have good
the
like really good
R5.
understanding of draft, you can be
T1
specific.
have a lot of poke, like an obscene amount of poke, but this is the Gwen jungle for Canyon. This is Showmaker's Aurelia.
The kittens
or
are going
or
crazy
his
right now.
Renekton. Of course, Bertle loves Aurelia. His Aurelia, when he debuted,
Yeah, it
was
No,
the
but
reason why
yeah.
we were excited about
And
this.
then you talk about the draft, obviously. What needs to be
Yeah.
done? What needs to happen? Is it Showmaker on
Jace, like-
Ren or they swap?
As far as
No,
lanes
they
are
stick.
concerned, yes,
Okay, I
Renekton's
mean that's
not gonna
fine.
have the
Like
greatest
Aurelia
of
match up
times,
good
but
into
Aurelia
Jace,
into Jace
and
is one of the
Aurelia
good
into Jace and
ones if you're a
Renekton into
Damwon
LeBlanc
fan.
is okay.
However,
He
if
can
you're a
survive.
T1 fan, don't worry, just look at the
We
bottom
can
lane,
make
you're
plays.
fine. You're a-okay. Everything's absolutely
Okay, but
Yeah,
I
you
think we
can-
just go straight into
Zip.
it.
Yeah, go. Because so Kane cheese or not? I guess it isn't cheese, but like I really want to make sure that I correctly call what should be happening in terms of snowball and map after this kill here.
Yeah, okay,
'Cause
that's
this is
good. That's
obviously-
good. Like you have to understand the chain reaction, so that's good.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So I really wanna
what-
go in
what
on that.
happens, What happens? What happens? All right, he walks in to the
Ca-
jungle.
Vision of things like the second wind in an attempt to
What did you want to say?
just
No.
scale
Continue.
one wave
Okay,
clear, and then
yeah.
once
Canyon
the
walks into the
skirmishes
jungle
come
and
around,
just
that's
sits in the
where
bush
you
or what?
excel, and yeah, indeed, do see that come through here.
Well,
Okay,
this would
little
be a
bit
way
crazy
of,
that
changing
there's no
up.
walls for him.
Canyon's insane, man. No. He saw all 5 players on top level 1.
Ah,
So
yeah.
as a result,
Already picked the second
it's like everyone was spotted on top, all 5. So then as a result, he was like, "There's not going to be any
Yeah,
wards,"
yeah,
and then
yeah,
he went in.
Yeah, that's really nice. I mean, it's
Fucking Canyon, dude.
pretty crazy cheese.
get those. Gwen does them exceptionally fast. Although
Does he
has
just
gone for E.
jump straight into him or what?
Dude, it's a fucking disaster.
Try and go for a cheeky smite.
Oh my fucking
smite
god.
steal as well.
I mean, this is really nice
He's gonna
though.
flip it.
Like really nice punish to the level 1.
Yep.
And he just has to wait until it's low because he's not gonna smite.
Yep.
He doesn't know.
He doesn't know. Ona's taking a lot of damage
Nah,
here.
he doesn't know.
Oh, everyone's
Nah.
so scared. He steals it away in
Nah.
Canyon. I mean, if there's one way to become an early game jungler, the snip comes in. There it is. And first blood to
Okay,
Canyon.
so now you are like now you want to make sure that you know how to like
Yeah,
carry the game from
so
here.
so I try, and I want to make sure that whether I hit it, do I hit it half, not at all, because it's really this is gonna warp the rest of the game.
Yeah, for sure. Like now the chain reaction has happened, and what
Yeah.
needs to happen for Gwen to win the game.
Yeah.
Okay, I will just let it roll, and then I will go back to the start when you're done.
Yeah.
And I think we just go from there.
Canyon.
Canyon said last time around in the
Jesus
jar,
Christ.
but I had to do all the heavy
Look at
lifting.
Owner. Nah,
Yeah.
Canyon
He's
said
just laughing.
last time around in the
Yeah,
jar, but I
he's
had
just
to do
like-
all the heavy lifting.
He's
If
just
that
like, nah.
this is-
again,
he just
I'm
knows
gonna
it-
start
FF.
early.
FF.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's disaster. That is. Oh, he's level 1.
So before we like start, do you think he should invade his bot side now? I just want
I
to make
mean,
sure
you already so you have vision, right? I feel like Owner is always pushed into because he knows his top side should be at least partially taken, so he's always forced into bot. No, I think you just clear your own jungle and then.
yeah, you don't think Canyon
keep your
should
lead,
go in
right?
here?
No, because if you look at your lane state, like I don't think you're going to be
Yes.
able to, because you have Karma, Kate, and LeBlanc into
Yeah, you don't have
Renekton,
prio
so
in
like
any lane.
you can't.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really good. Like that's all I wanted from you. Just look at the lanes, because the jungler doesn't mean shit. Well, only thing that matters is lane states, and
Yeah. You can't invade without prio.
exactly. There's no prio. If you invade, you're gonna die, even if you're level 2 to level 1, because they can roam and they can make it a numbers advantage. But yeah, if we are the other way around, if we have the Caitlyn Karma, we can invade because they just run in, and there's no jungle for Mr. Owner to take. And then the game's just over. But yeah, that's not the case, so we need to play with what we have.
Oh, he's level 1.
Yeah. Well, that's how you win the early game as Gwen jungle. Everyone, just do that in your solo queue games, I guess. If you're gonna have a look at the pro queue.
Just do that.
Stone cold. Stone cold.
Is there people watching or what? People clapping?
Yeah. There's fans in
Oh,
Lore
what
Park.
the fuck? I don't know.
Yeah, it's really fucking cool, man.
Yeah, really nice.
Got him. Got him. I think he just said got it on the red buff and then said got him when he got the kill.
You think the polar bear would show emotion, but he does not, because
No,
this
he
is
does
just
not.
a regular day for him.
Exactly. Well, it's a regular day for Zeus as well here towards the top side as he shoves this first few waves towards this.
I think
turret.
we talk about it now.
Bertle not going to
In
be
a
off
little
the
bit.
ground too quickly on the Aurelia. Things definitely get better in this matchup. But not at the very beginning, as, yeah, LeBlanc into Renekton, pretty good.
Yeah.
As, yeah, this is what we're expecting, right? Like, the fact that the lanes are so good for T1 meant that we looked at this draft and we were like, Damwon, how do you do it? But now that Canyon skewed things, we'll see how that actually affects how this game goes, as Faker is going to put the Crocodile on a leash.
This is also illegal gameplay that's about to happen here.
Personally,
Yeah. So, like, I already have, like, a really, really big critical thing here. Like, after it happens, we haven't talked about, like, what he should
No,
path
I
after.
need to be more decisive in that, because like the
Yeah.
wave state on top and the matchup mid are irrelevant. It's the same as with the Singe pick.
Like, you just have to tell Ellis to shut the fuck up and then tell him, like, I need to talk about jungle pathing right now. Like, what do we need to do to 1v9 the game? Because the only thing that matters now is how does Canyon path? Because his pathing is essential this game. If he paths correctly, game is over. Like, he will carry the game. If he paths incorrectly, the game will be like, you know, still up for grabs. So, like, already now we haven't been talking about the pathing and what he should do. I don't even care if you get it right or wrong. It's just we need to talk about it.
To talk about it.
Yeah, we need to talk about it. Because So
No, I agree. I know I do it at some point, but it should have been.
it should have been the only thing
now.
that matters.
No, I
Because-
agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
nice.
Would not recommend it.
No.
Great pets.
Okay, I think you start talking about it now.
Revelation.
Yep.
I'm glad you're able to share that knowledge.
No.
Yeah,
First, we have
I feel
illegal
like I have
gameplay
a
coming up and a little bit on mid.
Yeah. Crocodile.
Yeah. A good 2 waves does say a lot. I think you need to. I think, and it's not something that is something that hard because otherwise.
Oh, that's a flash in from Showmaker.
No.
The ignite is on
Yep.
as well. As he-
No,
It's not going to work out as
figure LeBlanc.
those build list is fit,
that's a flash
I
in
mean,
from-
it's a
One of the
really,
best.
really
One of the best LeBlancs in the world, by the way.
yeah, but it's really insane from Showmaker because he's flashing on him knowing that the distortion is gonna be down. Because wait at the the flash here,
but
he waits now because the distortion is down and he can't take it back. So
Yep.
it's just a really, really nice flash and really nice like understanding of what he can do. Like that was just really insane. But yeah, we haven't talked about the jungle
No. I don't know why. That's really bad.
because
I don't have any counterplay.
yeah, you don't have any counter arguments.
No. I mean, like, why would I? It's bad.
Yeah,
Definitely
of course.
should.
But what do you? Let's. I mean,
I
it
think
doesn't
I
mean
think
shit.
I think I talk about it later on in how it impacted, but I should talk about it
Yeah,
as it happens.
yeah. You should
Or
talk about it
after- immediately after it happens.
Exactly. Like
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
like the moment he dies, you just make the whole game about what Canyon needs to do to like win the game now. But I mean, it doesn't matter. What do you think he should have done now? I think let's just take it now because then you know for future if anything like similar ever happens. It could be even like a late invade. Late invades are pretty normal, right? So not this invade, but the late invade. So let's just go
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to the start. What should
Yeah,
you do
so
now,
get
do
the
you think?
kill. So like, what is the best way to from here push your lead as Canyon?
Yeah. What do you think?
I'd expect you to obviously you take his Raptors because you're Gwen and you can, and then you have to go to your bot side to make sure that you don't get counter invaded and lose your edge, and then you just clear your entire jungle, and then I think from there you can leverage your leads to either go for objectives or look for plays around the map.
Yeah, so whatever happens after doesn't really matter. It's just what do we do now in the first and second clear to like get level 6 when he's level 4. So I disagree with the fact that we should go bot. The reason I disagree with that is because we want to keep the same camps on rotation. So I agree with this. We do Raptors, then I think you should do Wolves, which Canyon also does. Because if you do Raptors into red, you're kind of wasting time on your red, and also you're wasting time on your Wolves respawn because you can one-shot the Wolves. So it's good that we don't go top at least. Because since Sao is level 1 and it takes him a long time to solo a camp. So if he goes all the way from here.
Yeah,
into
he
here,
doesn't actually have the time because if he fair enough. There's not enough time for him to actually get it done.
yeah, he can't get it done. Plus he's flipping the game. Because if Canyon stays out of vision, you can't walk in there, you know. So what he should do in my eyes, and he doesn't do that, is he does 1 on the Raptor, then he does Wolf 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 on the second Raptor spawn. But he doesn't finish the Raptor.
You take away the next camp.
You just take his Raptors on repeat because mid lane prio doesn't really matter. Like they can both roam very easily.
Yeah, I mean your 2v2 when you're ahead is still nuts, right? So
Yeah,
you'll be
exactly.
fine anyway.
And your jungler will be at least 2 levels ahead if we do this.
Yeah.
So I disagree with the path he took because he didn't finish the Raptors. He let 1 stay, which is okay, but it's better if you can yoink the Raptors and get his level 2 Raptors. And you can do that.
Yeah,
easily.
get the double camp.
Because Irelia has now free time to play, and Jace doesn't get prio if Irelia can play freely, and she doesn't have to respect the jungler. And Renekton can just roam. If Wave is under tower, it doesn't matter. He should play for his jungler. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at the same time, of course, and then maybe 8 if Scuttle is up. But if it isn't up, who cares? You just need the Raptor spawn, and then you can just do the same thing: 8, 9, 10, 11 here, and then 12 maybe gank at some point, right?
Yeah.
But you need to cycle through the same camps, and you need to make sure that the jungler can't play the game. the enemy jungler can't play the game. But if you don't do that,
keep pushing your lead.
exactly. If you don't do that and you let him off for free, then this kill and this invade doesn't mean much.
Yeah, but I agree with you because even me saying what I said earlier and like being incorrect is better than not touching upon
100%. Like I don't care if you're right or wrong. I agree. Like that doesn't mean anything. You just need to bring light to the situation.
I don't know why not. I don't know what's happening in the brain, but it's a good point.
It just requires you to know what is the win con for.
No, like I feel like this is just a big fuck up. I don't really know. Like I if I said something and it was wrong, that would make more sense to me.
Yeah.
Than me not talking about it. Me not talking about it just says that I'm autopiloting, and I think that this is something that didn't happen in the previous one as well. Is also me being swept away too much by what Atlas is talking about, which is not his fault.
Yeah, of course.
But mine. That's actually good. That's a very valuable insight. I'll remember that.
The moment,
because I need to talk about this.
Exactly.
Yeah, this happens.
The moment this happens, this is the only thing that matters in the game. It's the same with the Singe pick. The moment Singe is luck, that's the only thing that matters. Also for entertainment value. But here, this is just educational. This is something every jungler needs to know, something every player needs to know. How do you push your lead after you kill him? Yeah. So, in my opinion, like anything that happens in the game right now doesn't matter. You just pull up the minimap and you start drawing on the map, and you just say, Canyon should do this, and this is why.
Yeah, obviously we can't do that, but I should talk about it.
Yeah. And if you can't do it in the game, maybe just do it out the game, like out of the game, after the game, if that's possible.
Also, no. Again, we don't have any resources.
GG. GG.
Yeah, that was honestly the main thing for this one. I think that what actually happens in this game and what we covered pretty well, I think, is that Damwon find individual leads, but because their comp is actual dog shit, like at the moment they push their lead too hard, they lose the game.
Yeah.
And then like they all in at some point inside the enemy base to get beaten, and they get outskilled, and they just instantly lose from there. So the rest of the game, I don't think is particularly interesting.
Nah, not really.
Yeah, I just really wanted to talk about the.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Early moment.
It's good for sure. Like, very important that you know this and you think about it.
Yeah.
For sure. So it's good. Like, very important. We went over it. Okay, there's just this last thing I want to do before I forget. I just want you to like talk about some draft stuff, in some sort of way. Because I need you to make sure that you understand like. I get it. Ah, fuck! The fucking kitten jumped on my back.
Gangs by kitten, dude. Get fucked.
Nah, that hurts. Fuck. Okay, so. When you think of these drafts here, what do you think of? Just the first thing that comes to mind.
Obviously, blue side is the aggressive draft. Red side is defensive. You will try to play around either your top 2v2, punish using the Renekton. Although into Ornn, I think it's kind of hard because of his W, but like you'd look to set up plays with Renekton Nidalee. Mid 2v2 is okay. I think in terms of damage, you're fine, but your setup is kind of lackluster and Mercs are kind of broken. And then bot side, you are going to have a lot of laning pressure as well. So basically, Nidalee is just as set up in every lane, should have prio in every lane. So she should be looking for aggressive plays onto the Lee early on. Because if you don't push leads and get early Drakes, then you just automatically lose the game.
Yeah,
from the get-go.
Yeah, exactly.
And in terms of pathing,
like the pathing doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter right now. Like what matters is that you understand like the sword versus the shield concept.
Yeah, of course.
This is the sword. This is the shield. They need to be defensive. They need to be aggressive. In this spot, you don't path to the Renekton because if you are Renekton with a lead, he has to have a very big lead because these 3 champions will just blow him up.
Yeah, he's irrelevant. So you want to snowball bot then?
Yeah, exactly. You want to snowball bots. You want to use the pressure you have mid to then do the same thing I talked about before, where you do maybe like one. Or so Nidalee is one of the champs that can clear really fast. So she does 1, 2, 3, 4, goes mid into bot, and then you dive, and you just need to pressure all the time. And if you're Lee Sin, you need to stop this from happening. So what Lee Sin needs to do 1, 2, 3, and then he just needs to sit in bot lane, sit under the tower, and make sure that they don't get dived. Because you're the shield, so you just need to be defensive.
Yeah, Lee just needs to match Nid and make sure that you count again. Because it's not like... I didn't even think that Cork Lulu is that weak. Like, obviously, if you get dove, you're, like, monstrously fucked.
Yeah, like, if you get dove...
2v2 is not that horrible, right?
No, the 2v2 is playable.
2v2 is fine, yeah.
But you still look like you will lose prio, so...
Yeah, of course, so you need to make sure you don't get dove.
Yeah, exactly. You just need to make sure that you are there. And this guy is just... he's a bridge jungler. You know how Lee Sin is...
Yeah, no, I know, of course. Yeah, same with Olaf in these type of drafts, where it's just like you're just trying desperately to match so that your team doesn't int every single lane before the game has started.
You just need to hold on. You need to hold on, and then eventually, like, you could go AFK at 20 minutes and your team will still win because you did. No,
this is especially in the LCK. This is super basic because teams generally do this, right? So you learn very quickly.
And the reason why a champ like Lee is a filler champ is because he can have different modes. He can be a carry, he can be a bridge jungler, he can be someone who looks for engages, disengages.
No, I mean, that's why Canyon's so good, right? Because he identifies better than anyone else. Did you see his Jarvan flank against T1?
No.
The one where he hides. Okay. We should end on that because I fucking love that clip.
We end on that. But
I'll look it up. Continue talking.
Go. It's just important that you understand that, like, a champ like Lee is a filler pick, and a champ like Xin Zhao is a filler pick because they can have different modes. They don't have to have gold. They don't have to, but they can have gold. If they have gold, they can be strong in some spots because they just can't die or they are the carry. And that's why some champs like Lee Sin and Xin Zhao and stuff like that are strong, and they are not like complete dog shit. Because he can full clear if he needs to, he can gank if he needs to, he can cover if he needs to, and that's why they are strong in draft. And in this spot he just needs to sit bot lane on the slow stack, and he needs to make sure that they don't die, and if they don't die, then we are very happy because we defended the shield. Alright, that was just it, because that's important to me, because if you don't understand, like, Renekton isn't the carry here, which you thought initially, right? Then you have a problem. You can play around it, but as you pointed out, exactly.
But you shouldn't.
Yeah, because you have other champs that need it more, and you need to fuck these guys. You need to fuck these guys over. So he is like, if there's a free gank top, you can look for it, but if it means that you're not bot lane on the dive, then it's bad.
Yeah.
All right.
I almost have it.
Yeah, you can just send it to me.
Yeah.
Whenever.
Because I think it's the latest one. Yeah, Grand Canyon. Because I like this play was one of the only reasons why Dom and Kia won this game against T1, the first one. I send it to you on here we go, on Discord with the timestamp as well.
Nice. All right.
This is, by the way, these are also done. Actually, no, these are. It's the hype videos. I'm thinking about something else. Ignore. Continue.
Okay. Holy shit, Veigar HP bar. Oh yeah, holy shit. He's just sitting in. Holy fuck.
On fucking Infernal Rift as well.
Yeah. That's crazy, actually. That's actually crazy.
Because that one's in the game right there. Like,
yeah.
Holy fuck, man.
That's really clean. Like a really insane understanding of the fact that he needs to. Like, how long was he sitting here?
Oh, they show his pathing coming up next.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think at least. Nah, it's maybe here. No, this is just. He went like all the way around Baron Pit, like earlier on.
Yeah.
So he's been sitting there for like 20 seconds, I think.
Yeah, holy fuck.
And then obviously the rest of his team just
they just
jumps
in
in.
for sure. Yeah, that's really insane. But yeah, like, stuff like that is what makes, like the difference between a good player and a great player. being able to identify these things
Be able to lock that one down.
for sure.
All right.
Do you have any like final questions? Else I will just stop the recording and I will probably upload it to YouTube, and then you can take away whatever you need to take from it.
Yeah, of course. No, man, this was exactly what I wanted it to be. So I hope it was fun for you as well.
Yeah, it was good. It was new. Like coaching casters is not something
Very
I
different. No, of course.
do. But yeah, maybe I have to do it again sometime. We can figure something out.
Yeah, man. That'd be,
Else I
a
can
pleasure.
also coach you in the game, you know, because it will also help you.
That'd be very different.
Yeah.
I'd rather do it in do it for casting, but
Yeah,
in
no problem.
game will be valuable as well, and
No
will probably be more fun for everyone watching.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Alright.
we can figure something out. I will end the
man,
recording
it'll
here.
be right.
Bye bye YouTube. Bye bye Twitch.